Well, it's NTT IndyCar race weekend, and of course you know what that means. When they race, we race here first. It's time for some top split action in the 2024 IndyCar iRacing Series. Hello again, everyone. I'm Gary Gazzo. Welcome to round 9 of the 2024 championship with coverage sponsored by 4D Racewear. As we today come to you from the home of the corkscrew, Laguna Seca. As always, joining me for expert analysis in the booth, my teammate and regular participant in the IndyCar Fix Series, live from his remote studios in Mexico City, is the boss, El Patron, Antonio Estrada. Also joining us from across the pond from his mobile studios in Scotland is Ryan Walker. And also, we have a bit of a ringer joining us this week. And we got Phil Krauss, just happens to be on camera. And this man has decided to... Phil Krauss has forced this man to retire early this weekend. Is Christian Hilgard. Guys, all welcome to the program. I guess we're looking at really this is the story of the weekend is how Phil Krauss is going to and he's qualifying, and I don't know how much of a serious lap he's going to put in here, but can Phil Krauss go 3 for 3 on this IIS weekend?
I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to see him perform really, really, really well.
Yeah, I think he could do it. I mean, this season so far, he's been on great form, and yeah, apparently he's been on good form around this Laguna Seca track this week so far, and apparently to spice it up for this race, I think he's planning to start from the back and possibly try and do a last to first challenge.
Oh, coming down the hill from the corkscrew, getting a little squirrely, yeah. As we are watching.
Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. As you mentioned, I've been forced into early retirement by a close pace this week, as he took an extra pit stop in the race that we did yesterday and still won against me by 16 seconds. So his pace is unbelievable. It is on another level. I think we'll be seeing Phil carve through the pack today.
I don't think he was able to set a time, and I don't think he has enough time to actually set anything right now. So he's probably going to be starting from the back of the pack. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see him try to carve his way through the field and potentially make it 4 for 4 or 3 for 3.
3 for 3,
how many
yeah.
races he's done. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he told me that he's not qualifying, and well, certainly now he's not putting a lap on the board. So yeah, he definitely is starting from the back. I think that
he's off-roading.
Yeah, he is. He's decided to off-road today. And now
maybe
we're watching.
That's the only way someone can beat him.
Watching Anders Sandberg now as he's about 12 seconds here left to play in qualifying. He's not going to get his lap in, but getting some extra track time. Let's bring up the point situation for the series going into today's race. Here you go. Krauss is your leader, 23-22 over Kevin Burrell with a 21-84. Those are the two cars and drivers only in the 2000 bracket, although Christian, you will be joining them here real soon. You're at 1994 in third spot with Pascal Stix, the best name in all of the IIS, right behind you. Fairly close in comparison for position, but buffers. There's a big buffer between Krauss and Burrell there, but not so much between you and Stix, so that's going to be a constant battle there for you watching your 6 for Stix. Then we got Van de Sant in there at 6th, Will Weiser 7th, Brandon Roseborough 8th, JB, his teammate, in 9th, and Andrew Marquez in 10th. There's a remainder of the top 16 in the standings. Craig Sandberg, Hisada, Lodato, King Robert III there, and Joseph Manning, 16th. We're getting ready to line up, so we should probably get in today's starting lineup.
All right. So starting from the pole today, we're going to have Andreas Henkel. He did a 106 flat. He's going to be starting from the pole, and he's joined by Rashad Craig with a 106.1. He's going to be starting second. Row 2, we have Kevin Burrell starting third with a 106.3. He's joined by Hayato Matsuda with a 106.4. Great qualifying by him. Starting fifth, we can find Alan Breteau, and he's joined by Brian Carey, starting sixth. And in row 4, we have Sven Neumann starting 7th. He's joined by Alexei Shalovanov starting 8th. Then we have Alex Van de Ven from Powerslide. He's going to be starting 9th, and he's joined by Sergio Fernandez from Spain. He's going to be starting 10th. We have Will Weiser starting 11th. He's joined by Lionel Massey starting 12th. This is one of the guys from that French team that we have seen that have been showing up for these broadcasts lately. So good to see them here, and great starting spot for him as well. Starting 13th, we can find Anders Sandberg, and he's joined by Notabe Chukwu Emelunadu.
I'm glad you're doing the starting lineup. I'm glad you're doing the starting.
But he's going to be starting 14th. Starting 15th, we can find Richard Watkins, and he's joined by Mitchell Bott starting 16th. We have Sam Fitzpatrick starting 17th. He's joined by Antoine Colicini starting 18th. 19th is for Jason Green. He's joined by David Henger starting 20th. Lucas Lodato starting 21st. He's joined by Dylan Reisel starting 22nd. Kolja Birkenfield starting 23rd. He's joined by Palle Bay starting 24th. Then we have Yannick van der Zande starting 25th, and he's joined by Phil Krauss starting 26th. And so he didn't quite get shotgun on the field. Shotgun on the field goes to Sylvain Morin from France, and a teammate to Lionel Messi, if I'm not mistaken, he's going to be starting 27th. And that is our full field for today.
The big one, we get the full pace lap. Christian, how much does a full pace lap impact fuel mileage?
It's not very much. You're obviously going to fuel map 8 here to conserve, and then probably clutching out going into 6th gear to just try and spend as little fuel as possible. I'd say today's probably going to be a light fuel save, and you can comfortably make that even with the pace lap here.
And realistically, not very many passing opportunities here at Laguna.
No.
I mean, you can get brave and try to do it here at the corkscrew where guys are going through right now. But the best passing opportunity is probably going to be turn 2. And maybe you can make something happen in turns 5 or 6 if you're very, very aggressive. But yeah, a very, very scenic track. All these elevation changes and some off-camber corners are really, really fun. And yeah, we're getting very close to going green, guys.
Coming around the final corner here. Everyone is in pretty good configuration. And Andreas Hinkle does not waste any time whatsoever. Green flag here at Laguna Seca for the Laguna Seca round of the IIS. Hinkle, Craig, Burrell, Matsuda in the turn 1 in that order.
Henkel made a bit of a mistake into turn 1. He just got a bit of a wiggle, but managed to save it. And but apart from that, I have to agree. He never wasted any time when he exited the final quarter. He pretty much just tried to catch everyone out.
And everybody made it cleanly through turn 2.
Yeah, very clean start. I was watching with Krauss just to see how he's doing, and there has been no drama at the back of the field here. He has picked up a couple of positions, but nothing major so far.
Now coming to the corkscrew for the first time today. Again, very clean by everybody.
And a little bit of a gap starting to appear for Andreas Henkel, but Rashad Craig is definitely keeping him honest, and so is his IAR teammate Kevin Burrell. A big shout out to Rashad Craig here. He's been fast all week in race pace, but he's struggled a bit with qualifying. But today he's really put it right up there on the front row.
Yeah, great stuff from Rashad, and I'm also keeping my eye out on Alex Van de Ven.
Yeah, he just made a pass on his teammate there.
Carey.
Yeah, made a pass on his teammate. Playing that one well. Carey stayed wide and allowed VDS on by.
Yeah, and VDS is up 3 spots. I saw him at the start. He went to the outside, and that netted him a couple, and now that move on Brian Perry gets him all the way into 6th.
Laguna Seca was always in this configuration. Oh, what do we got?
A little bit of an issue there for Phil Krauss. He got stuck behind Dylan Reisel and some of these other guys. He had to really lift and lose a ton of momentum. But smart driving. He knows that he has to make his way through the field. He cannot get them all in one lap or whatever. So he has to be very, very cautious around some of the guys because he has this monster pace that nobody else is able to match. And look at him trying to make it on the outside.
Purple lap for Henkel. Purple lap for Henkel. Got a car coming to pit road with a broken nose. Got a one-wing angel out there. They'll get that fixed. That is the name that none of us can say.
I'm not even going to attempt it because when it comes to pronouncing names, I'm probably the king of.
No. I am the butcher of names.
But yeah, probably a bit early to talk about strategy. But as a question for Christian, with regards to the push to pass, do you think it would be too early to start using it, or does it depend where you've qualified in the field, and is it worth using some push to pass to maybe try and get through the field quickly to try and gain some position before the first round of pit stops?
Yeah, I think there's some flexibility built into it. Like I said, it is a bit of a fuel save, so you have to be wise about when you're using the push to pass, as obviously you do end up spending a little bit more fuel when you're on the push to pass. But that said, you should have one stint where you can push as much as you want to, and use your push to passes. But realistically, it's going to be quite tough to use push to pass and also make the fuel save. So you definitely have to pick and choose when you use it. So maybe Krauss is going to be using it aggressively here. Maybe he's going to be saving it for later if he believes he can get up to the front and maybe start using push to passes to overtake the guys up there.
And I'll just say no Deb. I think no Deb is how you say at least the first part of his name, which is easy for me to say because that's my wife's name, so I say no Deb a lot.
I'll go ahead and say no Deb Chukwu. That might be all wrong. But,
no Deb Chukwu? No Deb Chukwu? Okay.
Chukwu, I believe, but I mean, who knows?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, hit me up over on no Deb if you're watching. Again, apologies, but hit me up over on the ERN Discord server, DM me there, and then give me a proper phonetically spelling. I mean, you dumb it down for me, really, because that's what it takes for me sometimes. And we'll get that taken care of. But apologies for butchering that name. But looking up front, Rashad Craig just set the purple lap a lap ago. He is tracking down Henkel's got his teammate right behind him in Burrell. Matsuda 4th, Van de Sant 5th. Brito is 6th, carry 7th. Lucy, we got in 9th. We have Alexei Shebanov in 8th, Sven Newman in 9th, and Sergio Fernandez in 10th. That's your top 10. Your biggest mover of the race is really, it's down to 2. Krauss with 7, and that's kind of artificial down there. I think he's that much faster than everyone down there. He's just picking them off one by one. But where it gets a little bit harder, where the cream rises to, is right where Alex Van de Sant is, and he's up 4 spots to 5th. A little bit harder road to pull up there, passing people than it is in the rear.
Yeah, for sure. But he's about to make it by Lodato there, the field Krauss is. And there's a great battle brewing between Alan Brito, Brian Carey, Shalovanov, and Neumann. They're all very, very close to each other.
All right, let's get on that.
Especially Shalovanov getting closer to Brian Carey.
Yeah, it looked like Alan is just managing to keep Brian at a little bit of an arm's length here, but being in the middle of that sandwich is a tough position to be in. You're getting the dirty air from the car in front. The car behind you doesn't have quite as much of an effect relative to you. But obviously the slipstream also does cancel it out, but certainly Brian has a lot less grip than Alan will in the dirty air, and Alexei will have similar grip levels to Brian, so difficult position for Brian Carey here.
Oh, we got really close there.
And while we watch the action, here are the real-world stats from Laguna Seca, all the IndyCar records that matter. Your kart track record set back here in 2000 by Elio Castroneves. Set a time of 108.7218 seconds. And then the IndyCar current track record set just last year when they repaved the track And the track is noticeably slower this year. Watching the first practice, I have not seen the second practice. I have not seen qualifications. So nobody spoil it. If you spoil it, you're getting banned. But considerably slower than last year. Rosenquist, Felix, set the track record last year at the time of 107.6419. But both were set under the current configuration. So if you go back in the history of Laguna Seca, when IndyCars first started coming here, basically was an oval with a corkscrew. And everything after the corkscrew is what was on the surface, the circuit before. So coming down this hill, coming down into this right-hander, the left-hander here, then the left-hander at the bottom of the hill, and then rejoining the main straight here. That was all here before. But before, the front stretch would go well past the Andretti curves, and there was another left-hander followed by a long straightaway and another left-hander then, which would bring you up onto the portion that then feeds you into the corkscrew. So it was like one big oval. And Bobby Rahal, when they first started coming here, made this his home. He won like 3 straight races here, or actually won 4 under the old configuration. Danny Sullivan, Michael Andretti, Paul Tracy, Brian Herta, Patrick Carpentier, Colton Herta all have 2 wins here. Laguna Seca is also home to Rick Mears' 7th and final road course win. He did win on the road course every now and then. He won here. And, of course, the infamous lap race-winning pass by Alex Zanardi on Brian Herta in the corkscrew in 96, simply dubbed The Pass, is probably the most famous moment here. And really, one of the most famous moments in all of IndyCar history, to be honest with you, right here. Although Roman Grosjean tried to repeat it on Jimmy Johnson with a lot more contact and a lot less gracefulness.
Yeah, having tried it in the sim, I can tell you it is terrifying. I cannot even imagine sitting in the cockpit in one of these cars in real life and trying to send it up the inside on the corkscrew. Huge cojones from Zanardi pulling off that move.
Oh, definitely. Huge. and it's also pretty much blind for the most part. Like, you go all the way to the top of the hill and then you don't see anything about after that. Like, you just have to know where to put the car on instinct, basically. They know the track, but yeah, it's crazy to even imagine what was going through his mind at that point. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna send it through here. Why not?
Send.
Oh, well, what's crazy is that there is actually a reference for that corner, and I know it works in real life as well, which is there's a tree that you should be aiming for, but if you're on the inside, your line is going to be all screwed up, so you suddenly have no reference for where you're supposed to be aiming that car. You're just going fully off instinct and hoping that you're not going into the gravel trap.
There's a lot going on when you reach the top of the hill. Not only are you under braking, but it is kind of a blind turn. But the car is very unhappy when it starts to go downhill, isn't it?
Yeah, there's also there's a bit of a hill in the braking zone, so the car gets light. So you actually have to release the brake and then come back onto it in order to not lock up and just go straight on. It's one of the most difficult corners in all of motorsports, no doubt.
Let's hop on with Kevin Burrell, and let's try. Now, I'm going to be on his roll bar here, so this is about another 8 to 10 inches above the driver's head. The driver's a little bit further down into the cockpit. So what might look blind to us here is really blind to them in the cockpit. Or what might not be blind to us here is really blind in the cockpit. So we'll see. Coming through
the scariest corner on the track, turn 6 here.
Yeah, I hate that corner. There's like a bump there in the middle of the way that's cambered and everything, that banked a little bit. Here we go.
Yeah,
right here.
The sausage strip on the inside.
Yep. That happens so quick.
Kevin absolutely nails it. But yeah, as much as the corkscrew is legendary for good reason, very iconic corner, I think the scarier corner here on this track is actually turn 6. With how much speed you're carrying, you have the sausage curb on the inside, you have the wall pretty close on the outside, you're carrying a lot of speed and the car's right on the edge. It's very easy to make a mistake there, and I'd be shocked if we don't see at least 1 or 2 cars ending up in the wall as a result of that.
So way back in another, go back in the playlist for Race First and look at the very first time the FIS came here. Aside from a massive wreck on the first lap because of the standing start, coming to the checkered flag right here. the leader, took the white flag, and did not make it through that turn 6. That's how dangerous it was, and that was who it was. I can't remember now. It was one of the team talent guys, Liam. Somebody, I'm gonna remember it here eventually, but yeah, it was one of the team talent guys hit that and just spun out and gave the win to I think Caleb Binsey, and just backed into the win. But that was his only mistake all day long. Led every single lap up to that point, and then just made a mistake in 6. And
it's so easy to do.
Yeah, and I know that Liam is a very good driver, and that was he could catch the best of them out.
It absolutely can. I ran the obviously the race here yesterday, but also on Monday in race spot on the Indy Open calendar, and let me tell you, going through the turn 6 on the final lap in the lead was terrifying. It was terrifying all race, but especially on that last lap, because on the last lap you don't want to push, you just want to take it safe. But when you're just backing off, that's when mistakes start to happen. I imagine that's probably what happened to Liam. Which is just, trying to be careful, puts you off your groove, and then suddenly you're in the wall.
Yeah, it changes your muscle memory just a tiny bit if you're trying to be conservative.
It does.
Yeah,
I was just riding on board. Sorry to interrupt you here, Ryan. I was just riding on board with Phil Krauss here for a lap. He had a bit of clean air, and wouldn't you know it, he's going half a second faster than P1.
We'll jump on with him right now.
Yeah, and I was watching him the last couple of laps. He went through pretty much, like 5 or 6 cars very, very methodically. And then there was a moment where he had to go 3 wide with Watkins and Mitchell Butt there behind him on the front stretch because Mitchell had a bad exit. But very cool, calm, and collected. And, that's kind of the Phil Krauss approach. And, he has a lot of pace.
Yeah, currently he's 17 seconds behind P1, but if he's half a second quicker, he is going to make it there.
Liam Quinn, sorry.
There you go.
Yeah.
You were going to remember.
I had to go to the Sim Racer Hub, and it was season 2 of the FIS, so, but I always called it, I should have remembered the name, because I always called him the Jedi, because of Qui-Gon, but Liam Quinn is the unfortunately he spun out there. And my understanding is, if I remember right, he was really upset, more at himself than anything, and didn't show up for the interview after the race. But I sometimes I can't blame people for skipping the interview. Watching Phil Krauss here on the back of Andrew Sandberg.
Yeah, he's probably gonna go to the inside here on turn 2. There he goes.
Yeah, no fight whatsoever.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be demoralizing, right? Like you find out that there's a guy like 3 seconds behind you, and then in a lap he's
there.
Yeah,
there.
So it's like, yeah, go ahead, man. I mean, what am I gonna do, right?
Yeah, really, it's futile for all these guys in the back of the field trying to fight Phil right now. Phil has so much more overlapping pace. He's going to find a way by, whether it's on the inside or the outside. I think for Andrew Sandberg in this case, it's better to just focus on your own race, let Phil go, and see if you can hang on to his coattails for a little bit.
Let's move up into the order a little bit. Sven Newman on the backside of Alexei Sebanov. That whole battle right there is going to get really tight because Phil is coming on this. He's right behind this whole group, so they're picking up the pace.
Yeah, and Sven just dropping off Alexei a little bit on this lap. He was having it go on the outside coming into turn 2 on the previous lap here. A little bit too far back for it here, but this is definitely one of the closest battles on track. It's been brewing for a little bit.
Yeah, Carey, Shalanov, Neumann, Fernandez, they're all very close together.
And Alberto as well. Alberto actually pulling away from Brian Carey. He's doing very well here.
Yeah, Alberto creating a little bit of a gap. But yeah, Phil Krauss is just around a second behind Will Weiser, maybe a little bit less than that. So yeah, he didn't get the best exit of a 5. Entering 6 now.
Another battle that's brewing right now is up in P2 and P3 between the two IIR teammates. Kevin Burrell is starting to close in a bit on Rashad Craig.
Let's get up there and take a look at that one.
But as I'm sure Kevin is finding out right now, it's very difficult to close up. As Antonio mentioned in the pre-race here, it's difficult to overtake. There's practically 2 overtaking spots here, but what's more is you have a lot of dirty air. It's very difficult to actually close up. It's very easy to start overdriving your tires, and then as quickly as you're closing up, you're going to be dropping back as well because your tires just fall off. But Kevin will have his work cut out here, not only closing out on his teammate, but also making sure his tires don't overheat in the process.
And yeah, for sure. And just something interesting. Will Weiser just sent a message of, hey, pass left. And that's exactly what Phil Krauss just did. He's now up to 11th, 15 spots up, and right on the back of Sergio Fernandez. So he's now in this mid-pack and making his way through it.
Christian, tell us about our leader, Andreas Hinkle. This is kind of the first time we've had him on the Top Split broadcast. Don't know much about him. He's just in a plain white wrapper with the white number 1 on him, so he is the highest rated driver in this split. What can you tell us about Andreas Hinkle?
Well, I can't tell you too much. I didn't know about him until yesterday when he showed up in the IIS race there and was very, very quick. What I learned there is he was a former IRO1 Pro license driver, obviously extremely, extremely quick. Who knows what setup is on there? We know we have the IndyCar teams who are putting in tons of work on setups. We have no idea what Andreas is doing, and well, he's right up at the front, pulling away from the IAR guys right now. Very, very talented driver.
He's got a 2.4 second cushion over Rashad Craig, who is currently holding the purple lap set very early in this race. Right behind him by 0.3 is Burrell. Alex Van de Sand's about 2 seconds behind Burrell. Matsuda back to 5th. 3.8 behind Van de Sand. Everyone kind of getting stretched out a little bit. The biggest battle is really, or the closest battles going on really is from 7th on back. That's Carey, Brito, Carey, 6 on back, excuse me. Brito, Carey, Alexi, Newman, Krauss. In fact, Krauss is now getting ready to he's already into the top 10 and is on the backside of Sven Newman and might take a pass. Look at the pass going into 1. Yep.
Moving up to 9th.
This is intent here. Yeah, and once Phil is through this group, he will have a clean run on the top 5 here. The top 5 have broken away from Alan Brito a little bit. So Phil will have clean air and be able to show his pace here. Then we can really start having an idea of where Phil is going to be able to get to here.
Clindy in chat, before the corkscrew, the baller turn, yes. JBH says, spoiler alert, Stingray Rob on the pole. Yeah, I'm not believing that one there for a second. Although Stingray had a great Indy 500. He had a great Indy 500. And I think proved a lot of people wrong how strong he raced there and just didn't pull over to let people pass him.
Yeah, Billy. I think didn't Stingray Rob run in first and second place at one point?
Yeah, he led like 25 laps of the Indy 500.
Yeah, when I heard or basically saw the highlights and saw he was running up at the front, I wasn't shocked, but I think underneath, I think that he's always been a decent driver. It's just maybe luck's not been with him. But I think the Indy 500 definitely showed that when things go right, he can be up there and having a good race.
I think he gets a lot of heat for the name. You got to ask your question. You got to ask questions when parents name their kids certain things. You know, would he be better? Would everyone like him better if his name was Steve? You know, I don't know. I really don't know. Would people consider him a more serious threat? You know, if his name was Greg, I don't know.
Certainly, being named after a toxic fish is. I imagine he might have had some
well, he's named after the car, of course, but yeah.
Well, the car is named after the toxic fish, so
right.
Close enough.
And there's Krauss getting the move on Carey right there at turn 11. So now move Krauss up to 7th. Next on the target list is Alan Brito. Brutto also in a plain white wrapper.
Yeah, and also we're getting quite close to the first pit stop.
Yeah,
here.
it is.
Maybe in around 3 to 4 laps, we're going to start seeing some of these guys go into the pits for their first pit stop.
Yeah,
And
overwhelming.
right now we also have.
Go ahead.
Sorry, we also have everybody right now on the alternate tire,
Yes.
which is the preferred one here. They all need to go at some point to the primary tire, so we'll see when they decide to do that.
We were on the same wavelength here because that's the next thing I was getting ready. Overwhelmingly, the red tire is used by just about everybody on this first stint, from first to 22nd. Yannick van der Zande, hopefully I'm saying that, van der Zande is in 23rd, and that is the first car with the prime tire. Then Pally Bay, Sylvian Moraine, and Dave Hinger. Or actually, Dave Hinger is on the alternate, but van der Zande, here comes Krauss down the side of Brutto. Krauss been making a lot of hay right there going into the Andretti curves. But Bay, Moraine, and van der Zande are the only cars right now running on the prime tire. Everybody else overwhelmingly on the reds.
I just want to point out that's 19 positions in 21 laps for Phil Krauss.
Almost one position a lap. It's crazy.
He's now got a backmarker ahead of him here.
Yeah, that is David Ender, who moves over. Good job. And there's really few places to pull over and hide here, especially when you're off the pace. This is actually at the bottom of the hill, and this area is actually one of the few areas that you can kind of hide and allow people to faster traffic on by.
Yeah, and now we will see what you were talking about, Christian. Phil Krauss just made his way through all these guys. Now he has to close the gap to Hayato. Hayato Matsuda last time by 109.3. Phil Krauss 108.0, and he had to pass a couple cars. So now this is the first time where we're going to see him on entirely a free track, clean air all over.
4.5 seconds.
Let's
see how fast he's able to close that gap to Hayato there.
And just for reference, Andreas Henkel at the front in clean air, 108.3. So Phil's still 0.2 quicker, just about, than the leader right now, even though he had to pass a car.
And since Henkel is drove in that Pro IR01 series, let's talk about the Pro series coming up here for the IR18 and the IndyCar guys. I got to think Krauss might be one of the ones in the community that we could expect to see take it to kind of the hired guns of I guess the more corporate drivers, those that race for Fanatec, those that race for some of these eSport teams, some that race for some of these equipment providers. I think I got to think Krauss might be one of the few from the community that might have a shot to get in there and mix it up with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Phil is the strongest driver right now on form in the community. We saw him in the BCO pre-qualifier being right up there. I think he was P10, and Kwanda, they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Kwanda definitely have something, but all the other pro teams Phil seems to be able to hang with pretty well. I also know Brendan Treno is going to be running. Kevin Burrell is going to be running. They're probably going to be in second split for most of the qualifiers, so we'll see. They might have a shot of qualifying through second split.
I don't know the broadcast schedule of what's going on. I'm assuming Top Split will be broadcasted on one of the regular sources.
I'm actually not sure if the qualifiers will be, but the Pro Series itself definitely will.
Definitely will. I was actually thinking about possibly doing second split for if someone was broadcasting Top Split for the Pro Series qualifiers.
Guys, sorry to interrupt that.
Yep.
Andreas Henkel just went into the pits.
We're watching him right now.
First one there we go.
Yep, so that's a 23 lap stint, sure enough.
23 lap stint, yep. I would imagine that most of the guys that stayed out, Birel, Craig, Anderson, Matsuda, Phil Krauss, they're all probably going to be coming in this time by. And he changed to the Reds again.
Stayed on Reds, yep. So that means next stop, one of the next two stops, we think it's going to be a three-stopper. He'll go to the prime tire, probably next one, and then finish with probably finish on the Reds.
Yeah, the red tire is by far the stronger one here. That's also why we're seeing I think it was 24 out of 27 cars on the alternate tires here. And for Andreas, he's going to be fuel saving for the rest of the race here. Phil, Kevin, and Rashad have all gotten it out of the way.
IAR coming the pit road.
Well. And no drama on the pit entry as far as we can tell. BDS going one further.
Oh, Hayato came in there pretty hot, but he got it under control. Krauss on pit road. Alex Vanasek going one longer. That is no surprise. That man knows how to save fuel pretty darn well. He's not exactly Scott Dixon in terms of saving fuel, but I know if there's anyone with it, any type of strategy that they're working on fuel, he normally is coming up with one.
He's really good at that.
Yes, he is.
I remember a win from him at Pocono where we all thought he was not going to be able to make it, and he did, and he still had an extra lap. So, yeah, that's one of his stronger suits from Alex Van de Zandt.
And I think that's telling about his pace as well. It looked like he was dropping off ever so slightly from the IAR cars, but if he's been fuel saving one further, which he clearly has, I think that's very telling about his pace. He's trying to overtake these guys in the pits instead of doing it on track, which is very difficult here.
Yeah, and that was a question.
Pit road, Alex.
That was a question of going one lap longer. Do you think, a question for Christian, do you think that could pay off later in the race, towards the end?
Yeah, absolutely. Having the fresher tires later on is going to be very valuable. Like I said, it's so difficult to overtake here, so either you need a big tire offset or you need to be able to do it in the pits, and BDS is giving himself a chance to do that right now.
And something else that just happened, Hayato Matsuda coming out of, on cold tires, he kind of blew turn 6. That allowed Phil Krauss to make it by him. So
ankle purple lap.
That's it for what we were trying to see, how fast he was going to close that gap to Hayato. Well, now move Phil Krauss above him.
And I think we should hop on with Phil Krauss here. He's got fresh tires, clear track ahead of him. This might be a very quick lap.
Yep, let's watch.
He dives into turn 2 here, double apex, very, very difficult corner to get right. Very easy to overshoot it. And here in turn 3. In turn 4, very quick, easy to clatter the inside curve here. Just about makes it stick post a little bit wide, and then coming up to turn 5 here, it's fairly slow, but you have a lot of camber here, so you can carry a lot of speed through and up to turn 6, the most dangerous corner on the track, really.
And here it is. Ugh.
Nails it. He absolutely nails it.
Nails it. Exactly.
Obviously, the corkscrew completely blind as you're coming over the crest here. Aim for the tree directly ahead. Again, just so clean. Perfect driving here. Keep it to the inside, hook up the apex, and then really, really fast sweeping corners here in the final sector. Misses the apex a little bit, but I think he'll be okay. And then for the final turn, really slow it down, the slowest corner on the track. Hit the apex, use all of the track on the exit, and there you go. See what lap time he gets. So 106.9. That is half a second quicker than Andreas Henkel.
Purple lap.
There it is at the top of the screen. Purple lap. Let's watch the next one, ride with them. Actually, I'm gonna try to pause it at the top of the hill. I'm going to demonstrate when we're talking about hitting the trees. And this is from actually watching IndyCar practice yesterday on Peacock. Here it is. All right, so according to, and I think it might have been Townsend Bell, he said that you're really looking at this tree, and that keeps you off the rumble strips on the inside of the corner, which can unload the car. So if you bring your car in through that little gap, and keep your wheels as close as possible to the line of that next tree on the right, that is where the IndyCar drivers in real life kind of aim for their corner exit at the top of the corkscrew.
Yeah, spot on. And it works in the sim as well. Really goes to show how iRacing's model on the track is very, very accurate. Even though it is slightly outdated, the trees are definitely still the correct marker, whether you're in real life or in the sim here. And
I get those marks off the screen there, but yeah, I love my telestrator. I love my telestrator.
Phil Krauss went even quicker on that lap, by the way, 106.8 compared to Andreas Henkel's 108.2. So 1.4 seconds quicker on the same tire, I might add. Andreas Henkel is still on the alternates here. And speaking of Andreas Henkel, him pitting one lap earlier has really pulled out a gap on Rashad Craig and Kevin Burrell, who are still very close on track.
Yeah, but Henkel is in the middle of super traffic right now. He's got Birkenfeld, Moraine, Henger, all directly in front of him. He's got 3 cars at least, and I can see 4 cars, 5 cars.
Yeah, those cars are in a battle.
Yeah, and that's a battle for position too, so they're not going to exactly pull over for him.
Yeah, and they don't need to yield, so they're going side by side right in front of him, and they're not going to be entering turn 6 here. This is a very, very tough position for him.
Oh, he goes wide as well. Yeah, he's bleeding so much time to the cars behind right now.
Yeah, and this is.
Oh, inside.
Go ahead.
Goes inside. Oh, tight. Oh. You could tell his car was not happy when he made that pass there at the top of the corkscrew. A lot of counter steer in that.
Yeah, this is what you got to do as the leader. You got to be aggressive enough to actually make the moves happen. Obviously, the guys, they're not going to be happy to give up the position because they're fighting. You got to straddle the line of being careful enough that you're not going to wreck them, and yourself for that matter, but still, being assertive and putting your car on the inside there.
Engel, they're very, very, very nice etiquette. He gets out of the way, and then that allows Henkel to make an easy move on Dylan Reisel there.
But less than 2 seconds. Of course, Rashad Craig and Kevin Burrell will also be making their way through that very soon. The 2 seconds lost from the backmarkers on 1 lap alone.
Yeah, the gap to Phil Krauss was 15 seconds, 15 and a half when they went to the pits, and right now it's down to 10 and a half. So, yeah, that's a lot of time lost.
But they have to go through that same traffic as well. And there is a car behind Alex Van de Sande. I think that is David Enger. He has his nose is not connected.
Yeah, gone. He smacked the back of I think it was Sylvain Moraine while they were fighting for position right behind.
Yeah, right behind the leader, I think.
Henkel. Yep. And now he goes wide. Yeah, he needs to go to the pits here.
Surely that is a meatball, and here he comes visiting pit road.
I think he compromised Alex Van de Sande as well. He was very close to Kevin Burrell and Rashad Craig, but he got held up right there.
I think Henger was going to try to slip through and get a position on Rizzle when all that was happening, and I think he got his nose chopped off as a result. Now I got the camera on Van de Sande as Rashad Craig, I think, is going through that traffic. But if you don't look too far behind Van de Sande in the picture there is the purple shark. With that new noise you hear, dun 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 as he's coming.
Yeah, I heard Van de Sande come on the voice chat, and he sounded very frustrated.
Yeah, he had to check up quite a lot in turn 5 because of David Henger's broken car. I don't think David realized how much damage he had, and then he just could not turn in that corner. Went very slowly, and I think Alex lost about a second.
Alex, I've been in a league before where he got a radio ban because he was voicing his displeasure over the radio. Nice guy. Very nice guy. I've met him before. Very innocent-looking guy. But get him behind the wheel, and the horns and fangs can come out rather quickly at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we all do that to a degree.
That's the very reason that I don't have voice chat on ever. Because I know I cannot keep my cool. As soon as I get on voice chat, it's never going to stop.
Yeah, anytime I do any races or festivals or leagues or anything like that, I always disable voice chat. Not because I'll get frustrated, but just because I always find that people getting frustrated with each other and talking to us, it's super distracting when you're trying to concentrate.
You have a not very compliant backmarker here with Rashad Craig.
Yeah, watching that right now.
They nearly went into the back of each other there.
They did, right in the top of the corkscrew.
Right behind Rashad, we still have Kevin Burrell, who has been chilling there the entire time. Obviously, we have his teammate ahead, so he might not be too keen to make a move. But Kevin, at the same time, has a championship to consider here. Currently P2. if he wants to get ahead of Rashad, maybe they have a multi-21 situation. Or some
Oh,
sort
Kevin! Kevin! That was a rather quick move. That was a late decision. He was like, I'm going to go now.
Made it stick, though.
Yeah, he did.
Kevin, he's been hanging out behind Rashad. It seems like he has the pace to keep up, but if he wants to make it past here, he needs to do something different on the strategy. Clearly, it's too difficult to actually close up on Rashad right now. And those guys, of course, will be running extremely similar setups as well. So there's not going to be a massive performance advantage anywhere.
Oh,
Alex getting very impatient.
Yeah, and he's on the voice chat again. Not happy.
He's feeling the pressure from Phil now.
Right, Phil is there. He missed the corkscrew a little bit, Phil did.
Locked up a little bit.
Oh my god, Sylvain is not making it easy on Alex at all.
Finally backs out. See if he's kinder to Phil.
Yeah, he's not moving it.
Oh, VDS will be very, very unhappy with that.
Alex goes back and watches this replay and sees how easy that Sylvian moved over for Phil at that point. He's not going to be very happy. He fought him for an entire lap, finally gets around him. Phil gets up to him, he just moves over.
That's soul crushing.
Here is a battle between two real pros of the community. Whereas Phil won our broadcast of the Open Indy 500 on the Friday 9 p.m. showing there, as we called it, the ultimate warm-up race. About the only time we saw a broadcasted race where Robert Malechko wasn't winning that weekend.
Yeah, but don't forget, even though Robert Malechko won, we actually had VDS and Phil Krauss battling him for the win.
Yeah.
In the open race.
In the open one, they wrecked each other, yeah. So I'm sure that's sitting on the back of their minds right now as they're getting ready to engage each other once more here at Laguna Seca. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and read in the description. Next race we will be at Mid-Ohio. We will be broadcasting from ERN, the Elite Racing Network, here on YouTube. And you want to search them up and make sure to subscribe to their channel. And we already have the next race posted there for a reminder, so you can click the Notify Me button there, and it will. And then you also have instructions in the description on how to join the ERN Discord channel for if you're a participant for post-race interviews. So check it out, starting next race at Mid-Ohio, which is July 6th, I believe, on our Independence weekend. We will be on ERN.
Krauss is right on the back of Van der Sant now, and yeah, I think it's just a matter of time before Philip makes a move, possibly heading into turn one. But yeah, I don't think Alexander's going to make it easy by any means.
Here is a good angle to inspect the nose of Phil Krauss. We're looking out the gearbox of Alex Van der Sant.
He got a great run there.
Alex leaves the inside open. Easy for Phil.
Yeah, he's not going to fight it.
I mean, he knows his races with Kevin Burrell and Rashad Craig right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So up 22 spots. Phil Krauss, the alien. A lot of nicknames. I like to call him Dr. Phil. Just the way he's like the professor. He schools everybody on these races.
Yeah, I like Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil's good.
Yeah, I don't know why. As soon as you said that, I just had an image of the original Dr. Phil in my head.
And right there, Pally Bay getting out of the way there very nicely. So we are lapped up to Antoine Colicini, I think. Yeah, 21st.
It looks like the closest battle on track currently is Rashad Craig and Kevin Burrell, and obviously Phil Krauss is posting on that one too. Looks very menacing right now from Rashad Craig's rear wing here. They're absolutely pushing the track limits, taking up a bit of dirt everywhere.
It used to be back then, if you dipped a wheel off into the dirt here at all, that was pretty critical. Now I think they've tightened that up a little bit and allowed allow a little leeway into the dirt before, I guess, you get to the really loose stuff that causes the car to kick out and spin out. What you're not seeing on the track is all the debris that is being kicked up by the dirt. Normally, in the real IndyCar racing, and it's been a problem in the past, stones cause punctures, and we've seen a number of punctures happen over the history at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, and certainly in the sim, you have to be kicking up dirt everywhere, otherwise you're not using enough of the track. If you're kicking up dirt on the outside of the track, that's when you know you're pushing the limits. If you're not, you're probably going too slow.
Yeah.
If you're not kicking up dirt, you're not trying.
Exactly.
That's me at road courses. So.
There you go.
I'm kicking up dirt, okay. I'm in it, but I'm kicking it up.
Yeah, going way too wide. So also very nice from Antoine Quilicini. He got out of the way of Craig Burrell, Krauss, and Van de Sande. Moved, great etiquette. I know we sometimes call out guys that didn't move, but also important to call out the guys that actually did move. So very, very nice. And what comes around goes around.
Yes. You know? We all, the community's small, and we all have long memories. we remember those. We definitely remember those that wronged us. We might not always remember those that did us a favor, but we definitely remember those that got us upset behind the wheel. So.
Yeah, we can easily hold grudges, but no, I think I do remember the guys that were nice and drove me fair and gave room, and maybe they weren't having the best race and they moved over. So yeah, that goes in the back of my mind, I think, and I think that goes for most of us.
Yeah,
in a sense. I don't know, Christian, Ryan, what do you guys think?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we're all prone to remembering the guys who wronged us more because you're going to be inspecting that incident on the replay, yeah. Right? If someone does everything right, you just pass them, and then you might not even have noticed who it even was. But I think, generally speaking, you notice the same names over and over again, and if you never have an issue, you're going to know that, oh, this guy I've never had an issue with, even though we've been in races all the time, so he's probably clean. So you kind of know by virtue of not having incidents with them.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things as well. Basically, if you've been in the same race as other drivers, like all the time, like basically on a regular basis, you get familiar with drivers, and you know how they drive, you know how they race. And
level of trust.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a level of trust that you know that drivers, basically the regular ones that you race all the time, won't do anything silly.
100%.
And Phil's there now.
Yep, we're watching
I
it.
had to mention that, guys. We have now a battle for second. I'm sure Burrell is not going to move it or make it easy for Phil Krauss at all.
We'll have to see.
Burrell fulfilling that role of that X-Wing fighter pilot that has Darth Vader tracking him down. He's on me. I can't do anything. Hurry up.
You can just tell Phil has so much more grip. Closes in on every single corner entry and even through the mid corner.
Oh, he got a little wide there, lost maybe a tenth.
Little arrow, maybe a little arrow wash.
Corners, yeah, these high-speed corners is where it's difficult to keep close, but you'll see him close up very, very close to the back of Kevin's car in the slower speed corners, and then dropping back through these fast corners in the final sector.
Hey, if you're just joining us, we're watching a big battle here for second between Craig Burrell and Phil Krauss. Phil Krauss up 22 spots. He's won the Wednesday split, the Friday split, now looking to try to go 3 for 3. Andreas Hinkle is your leader. This is round 9 of 16 of the Saturday Top Split, sponsored by 4D Racewear, the IndyCar iRacing series coming to you from Laguna Seca, where we completed 41 of 95 laps. If you're enjoying today's coverage, would like to monetarily support our commentary team, make sure you donate via our GoFundMe link. It's in the description. Any donation you give is greatly appreciated, and we thank you for watching us this Saturday afternoon for the Top Split.
Following along with the battle here, surprisingly, Kevin's not having to make it difficult for Phil. The fact that there's 2 cars ahead, Phil has a slipstream, but it's cancelled out by Kevin's slipstream to Rashad. means that he's not able to really close in on Kevin unless Kevin makes a mistake, which he just did at the corkscrew.
Yeah.
He got really loose. See if he gets a good run here. He kind of does.
He's not going to be on the push to pass.
Too tight on mileage, you think?
Probably. I think he's trying to go another 24 here. He does show his nose. Kevin's not having it.
And for those that are unfamiliar with the push to pass, you can use it to attack and defend.
Oh, he almost lost it.
Yeah. Everyone got a little wide there. Even Alex a little bit further back. Now we got a bit of a buffer between these two. Between these three, really. Let's get you gaps here. There you go. Burrell now with a 7/10. Back to Krauss. Krauss now getting it closer.
Oh, he got loose again.
He's not finding it so easy here at this end of the field.
It's the old wrestling promo with Randy Macho Man Savage, where the cream always rises to the top. Oh yeah. So it's the same here. The cream always rises to the top in these races. The later you get, more that cream collects at the top, and then you are racing people with a very similar skill set as you, if not better.
Yeah, and what we saw from Phil here was something that's very easy to do. He clattered the inside sausage curve on this corner. Of course, these sausages are at pretty much every single corner except the corkscrew, if I'm not mistaken. And hitting them, you have to get as close as
Phil
you
rush on
possibly
Craig!
can.
Off!
I was going to say that was a massive mistake.
What happened there?
He just got loose through turn 4. Yep, big snap oversteer. He's going to be kicking himself.
Yeah, let's go back a couple seconds here to see what happened. He gets in the dirt off the Andretti curves. Now he's onto the... this is the newer part of the course that they redesigned. I was hoping to get a Formula 1 race here. And there he goes. Now, didn't hit the dirt there. But as he attempts to turn in...
When Phil overtakes him now on the outside of the final corner.
Krauss going by, yep.
And then there's a little bit of oversteer, and now he caught it. Keeps it on the dirt off the wall, but gives up a position, and then later another position. So move Craig back to 4th. And Alex Vandesent now is looking at trying to capitalize. Do you think, though, Craig has used up his tires now, possibly?
I think his tires will be okay. They might need a lap or two to cool down a little bit, but I think he'll be okay once the tires settle. Of course, we'll only have about 4 laps until the pit stop, so it might not even be too relevant. If you're going to make a mistake and kill your tires, now is a good time, as good time as any. Obviously, you never want to lose 2 positions from a mistake, but he's not going to be feeling the effects for another 24 laps as he might have if it was lap 1.
Yeah, for sure. Also gotta say that it was a really, really good save. I mean, at the end of the day, he lost from that particular issue 1 position, then lost another one to Krauss. But he didn't try to overcorrect or do anything crazy to stop the car from, going away from him. And, he kept it cool, calm, collected in a way, as much as you can if you're going through an incident. But only a loss of 2 positions is not that bad.
Yeah, could have easily ended up in the wall there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to get at.
Could have been. Yeah, could have been terminal. Yes. Back a battle for 9th and 10th. As Shelbanov getting around Berteau. This is a big battle back here. Shelbanov.
Will Weiser.
Yeah, Will Weiser's involved. Berteau, Sandberg. Oh, side by side.
To the outside. Yeah. To the outside of Berteau, turn 2. Now he's got to get the preferred lane here in 3. Should be able to complete a pass. And he's clear. There we go.
Will out here tempting fate in the green car. Maybe you believe this or not, Antonio, but I actually got a driver in 2 series that we cover who was driving a green car and he was having bad luck, and I was like, maybe it's the car. Maybe he shouldn't be in the green car. I actually got him to switch colors And then and apparently, I think the last 2 races he had top 10s.
Oh, you know.
Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Don't force yourself to change the color of your car. But if you have any superstitions, the green car for auto racing, unless it's British Racing Green, is normally bad luck.
Yeah, no, I've heard of that, and I don't really drive any green cars anywhere.
No, you don't.
I mean, I guess I am prone to that superstition after all.
Now, if it was the superstition of the red car, then you would be in violation there somewhere. But you're mostly a white car now, yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to pull us away from the midfield battle here, but Phil Krauss is right back on Kevin's.
Let's get back on there.
Bumper.
And this battle kind of settled down a little bit. Anyways, it was really, really close there. The lap traffic, I think, was bringing that group closer together. But here we go, battle for P2.
And it's going to be close, maybe not quite close enough into turn 1 here, but he is working on it.
Yeah, last time by, Phil Krauss was 3/10 quicker than Burrell.
Push to pass situation, 8 apiece for Hinkle and Burrell. Krauss, this is sick, guys. He hasn't even touched the button.
Of course he hasn't. He's leaving them for the end. I mean,
of course, but of course he hasn't touched the button. Yep.
He got real close here, entering 6. I mean, he got a good exit. That
6 corner is definitely 100% my least favorite. And then coming up to this after that corner, you got to collect your thoughts and refocus to hit that corkscrew. And it's just that whole 6 corkscrew combination is my least favorite of this course.
Yep. Henkel to the pits.
Hinkle in the pits.
About when we expected him to do this. But Phil Krauss is there. Now they're both on the bottom. First time that Phil Krauss is using it.
So
but Burrell is also
here.
23 laps each on the stint for Hinkle. And I normally, poor Hinkle's been really dominating this race. We put him on camera a couple times, but really haven't shown the #1 ranked driver in the split very much because the racing has been, the excitement has been. Dr. Phil, who is really Mr. Excitement today, he is bringing that car forward now, 24 spots.
Yeah, for sure, Mr. Excitement's award for today goes to Phil Krauss.
And Phil definitely wants to be ahead of Kevin going into the pit stops here, but he's not going to get it. He doesn't get the run out of turn 6, so he's not going to be able to go for the risky move into the corkscrew. Unless Kevin makes a mistake here, Kevin is going into the pits ahead.
Yep.
Of course, that pit entry is tricky enough on its own. It's very easy to overshoot it. Andreas Henkel actually did that yesterday, went into the wall.
Oh.
Goes another.
One more lap for Phil Krauss.
So
he was saving fuel.
24 cars while also saving more fuel than everyone else except for VDS.
My God.
Well, I say that. Rashad Craig also stayed out. Sorry, Ryan.
I was just going to say, if there's a driver of the day vote or driver of the race vote, I think it's pretty much an easy winner, and you're pretty much looking at Phil Krauss.
I think Phil's disqualified from that. He's driving a different class of car. I think we have to give a shout out to Alex Van de Sande. Up 6 positions. Of course, the pit stops are playing a part right now, but he started a little bit further down the order than maybe he would have liked to. Made up positions early on. Is fuel saving, keeping up with the IAR guys, and we'll still be in with a shot for a podium here.
So what do we think that Phil is going to go to? Is he going to go to the primary and try to make it a shorter stint on those?
One more lap for Alex. Sorry.
Yeah, Alex going 25 twice, of course. Phil going 24 and then 25, and inverse for Rashad Craig here. I think for Phil, he will probably want to burn the primary tires now so he can attack Andreas on the primary or on the alternates at the end. But of course, the primaries now will leave him vulnerable to the guys behind that he just overtook.
Alex pushing that time by was on the button. So he sees this as his opportunity to make hay while the getting is good.
And Krauss is back on the alternate.
Back on the alternate, yep.
But Krauss is going to go alt prime, it looks like, on his last stop.
Kevin Burrell on the outside. We might have a battle here. It looks like Krauss is going to be
let's get on. Watching Alex right now, but we'll get on that battle right this very second.
Yeah, Krauss clears him, but of course his tires now need to get up to temp, so maybe Kevin can strike back here.
And lap traffic is involved here.
Looks like the uppercut worked there for Phil Krauss. Got ahead of Burrell on that pit sequence. But yeah, cold tires, so he's got to be careful. And
something happened to Henkel. Something happened to Henkel. He's on pit road and done. Long stop.
Oh, no.
I wonder. Yeah, I'm just having a look at the replay from my end and just to see what happened.
And I think it's a 40-second hold I'm looking at.
There's a missing rear wing.
Oh, okay. So he must have had. If someone could go back and look and see report on that. That is definitely a game changer of this session.
He came out of the pits and basically he came round the turn 3, I think it was, and then round about there, and then basically just stopped and they escaped back to the pits.
And Alex coming out deep in traffic right now. Not only is he deep in traffic, he has Rashad Craig right in front of him. Craig has Lucas Lodato right in front of him. And Lionel Mays, hopefully I'm saying that right, he is in front of this battle as well. So that changes everything now, folks, because here is your leader, Bill Krauss.
We're just over halfway in, by the way.
Yeah.
I was going to say we're just
You're the one that said, you're the one that came into this saying, hey man, I was faster than him, but I was the only one that was able to keep up with him, but he made an extra stop and still beat us all by 16 seconds. So I don't think this is a good sign for the entire field.
It's not, and I want to be clear. I didn't say I could keep up with him. I said I was
right. Yeah, you were quicker than everyone else. You're like best in class. Yeah.
15 seconds with an extra stop. So I retired to become a commentator.
Hey, you're doing a pretty good job today.
Hey, thank you.
We have to bring you back.
Yeah, it's been great having you here.
I've enjoyed it. It's fun.
But man, what a heartbreak for Henkel there. I was just looking at the replay. You know, he went. I think it was turn 6 or maybe turn 5. I don't remember. But just after his pit stop, he was on cold tires. That's the thing that can happen. It snapped loose for him. Lost the rear wing, and now he's basically
I'm
out
going
of
to
the
try to
race.
find what happened there with Henkel.
Lap 48, if I'm not mistaken. But unfortunately, I can't see it on my replay.
It kind of goes dark after he spins, but yeah, it's lap 40.
Okay, so here he is. He's coming out of the pits. I'm try to get a better angle on. Let's go for one of the blimps. We can watch him from above. There it is. So he's coming out of the pits, pit out to the Andretti curves. And we're just going to watch it all until whatever happens here, because this is pretty critical. This is altering the race, really. Coming out now, he has alternate tires on, needing to bring them up to temperature. Coming through. Oh, there it is. There comes around. There comes around back on the back on the pavement. And he just stops. Right there, and then he resets.
Yeah, but he had damage to his rear wing somehow.
I don't like saying it, but I wonder if that was one of those rage quit moments.
I mean, did he hit the wall coming into the pits? Oh, there it is. Okay, there it is. Coming into pits. Where did this happen?
I think it was turn 5 on the lap before.
Okay, here it is. So he's coming into 5. And there goes. There's the back. And this is his pit in lap, I think. And boom. And the back end is done. And that's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Which, again, is important. He was doing a fantastic job keeping up with these guys. I mean, and leading. I mean, dominating, basically. The story for the second part of the race was going to be how long does it take for Krauss to catch him?
Catch him, yeah. If he could, yeah.
But yeah, pretty unfortunate. And now Krauss has a 6-second lead over Kevin Burrell.
Getting around Sam Fitzpatrick there, putting Sam down a lap. Now he's lapped up to P14. Last car on the lead lap is Mitchell Bott. Right there in that black and teal car.
Looks like we have a couple of very close battles on track right now with Alexei Sholobanov and
Let's get on
Sandberg, and also Alan Berteau and Sergio Fernandez. Very close to each other.
Yeah, and Fernandez, Berteau,
Will Weiser is in this one too.
Will Weiser, yeah. They have been close together the entire race.
Yeah, so Alan Berteau has lost a position on this lap according to my standings here. I think we have to give a little shout out to Alan Berteau. He's dropped some positions in the race here, down 6 positions. But I think that's courtesy of overperforming in qualifying. I think he had the lap of his life in qualifying. And then now in the race, maybe the pace isn't quite there, but I think we got to give him credit for starting all the way up in P5, I believe? P5 or 6?
Yep.
Yeah.
Started 5th, yep.
Oh, both missed turn 4 there with the Berteau and Weiser.
Looks like the sun has kind of gone behind the clouds, got a little bit darker now. Track temp 116, air temp 70.
And Anders Sandberg is very close to Sholobanov right now. He's up 4 spots right now, Sholobanov where he started, so it looks like Anders Sandberg has the pace here. He's also on the red tire against the primes on Alexei's car.
Yeah, I guess we didn't talk a lot about that. Phil went to the alternates as we saw, but then we have Rashad Craig and Van de Sande. They're all on the primary. They're both in the primary. Burrell on the alternate, Matsuda, Neumann, Kari, and Sholobanov on the primaries. Then we have Sandberg and Fernandez behind him on the primaries. But Fernandez already did his primary stint, so he's good to go on the alternates from here to the end of the race. Then we have Berteau on the primaries, and then Weiser, Watkins, and Butt on the alternates as well.
Yeah, so, we got go ahead.
So, yeah, I mean, there's still some of these guys that need to go to the primaries, namely Phil Krauss, Burrell, Sandberg, I think, and then all the other guys are going to be able to go to the alternate to the end of the race.
And I have what the current compound each car has right now up on the screen. So the primaries seem to be the flavor of the day in the top 10 for this stint. Man, these cars, they are just dirty after all this dust and rubber being kicked up. But look at the front end of Sandberg's car. It looks like he's been trying to plow dirt, not go through dirt, not drive through it, plow it.
Well, it shows he's doing something right, like we talked about. You have to be kicking up that dirt. If you're not, then you're not pushing hard enough. And Anders up 4 spots here is clearly on it, pushing right to the limit. And as he falls a little bit back from Alexei, Alexander Van de Sande is closing off on Rashad Craig. And of course, Alex Van de Sande with that 1 lap offset right now on Rashad Craig. I think he's one to watch. He's going to have fresher alternates at the end versus Kevin Burrell, who's going to be on primaries. And of course, Rashad Craig, who's also going to be on the alternates, but an older alternate tire that's not going to have the same grip for as long.
And cleared him.
Just like that.
So the push to pass situation is Krauss with 7, Burrell with 6, now Alex with 5, Rashad with 7, and Heyo Matsuda. We have not really talked about Heyo. Hayato is very quietly doing what the guy that drives that livery does on a normal basis, is just hang around the top 5 and is there at the end. That's Scotty D's livery. Hayato has been in the top 5 virtually all day. He still has 10 presses of the button left, and he has himself a little bit of a cushion up to Craig and a little cushion back to Sven Newman, just right now making laps very consistently once again for Matsuda, and that Scott Dixon livery.
Also gotta say, what a clean race we've had. I mean, realistically,
Yes.
only maybe a couple of incidents, perhaps. I mean, we saw that incident that Henkel had, but that was a self-spin. We saw Rashad Craig going a little wide, but and David Hanger running into the back of I think Reisel it was. But other than that, we haven't really seen any other incidents.
Yeah, everyone's been minding their P's and Q's. Yeah, working on that safety rating.
Yeah, big gains for everybody.
It's like, well, if I'm not going to get IR rating or any positive IR here, I better get a positive safety rating out of this thing.
I can almost guarantee you no one is leaving here with a positive safety rating. It's very easy to pick up 1Xs on the outside of the track every now and then.
That's true. That is very true.
I would not be surprised if we have a lot of drivers who are being very careful on the incidents because they're just, picking up one here, one there, and it adds up over 95 laps.
And that is correct. A lot of people forget these IIS races are 100% length races, just like what the professionals will be doing tomorrow. So that's 95. That's a long time. This is a 2.238 mile road course. It's not one. It's actually one of the. I guess if we want to call it by size wise, it's kind of right there in one of the shortest ones, really. So 95 laps at 2.238 miles. Is right around 212 miles for race distance. And then, of course, after all that, you got to change your compounds. And then pit road speed limit feels like you're sitting still. And just a lot of stuff going on in this particular race to kind of throw your concentration off.
Yeah, it's a relentless track. The straights are very short. The corners come at you very, very quickly. A lot of quick corners, so you never have any respite. Honestly, you say it feels like you're sitting still in the pit lane. But that's the one time throughout the race where you can actually take a little bit of a breather and recollect yourself because this track is tough.
Yeah,
It's relentless. Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to ask Christian about that. Around the Laguna Seca, with it being such a tight track, basically, how do you find it? Do you find that with regards to fatigue and being tired, do you find that it drains you a lot? Do you find it drains you mentally as well?
It absolutely does. It's one of those tracks where I absolutely love lapping this place, but qualifying itself, just being right on the limit for 2 laps is very, very tough. Doing it for 95 is impossible. I never find myself pushing, to 10/10ths, not pushing right up to the limit every single lap. You simply can't do that. If you do that, you're going to go off at turn 4, or you're going to go off at turn 5 or 6, or the corkscrew. You can go off at every single corner, make a mistake. If you're, pushing right up to the limit and you make a small mistake. So this is one of the tracks where, for most people, for mortals anyway, you're going to be maybe chilling at around 95% of your capacity. And then, when you really have to, you're going to use that focus up to keep someone behind or to overtake or, really put in a lap when it matters.
So just to give everyone an idea of what Christian was saying, that really the only time they get the rest. So this is a 95 lap race, so it's right around 2 hours, give or take, that you're racing. You're only on pit road 3 times. Each time you're on pit road's roughly 30 seconds. So in a 2 hour period, you have 90 seconds of actual rest.
It's not enough. It's not enough. I mean, I love this track. It's absolutely fantastic.
I'm just letting people know that this is no easy video game. It is a game, yes, but it's a simulation. And 90 seconds over 2 hours is the only time that you really gotta, as you mentioned, get a respite of what's going on. That's not easy. That's hard. And it just shows you the effort being put into these things.
Let's not forget, people are using quite high-end rigs. We're talking brake pedals that can take up to 100 kilos of force. We're talking direct drive wheels with 20 Newton meters of force being put through your arms. And maybe, it's summer right now, so people are sometimes racing in very, very hot conditions if they don't have AC. I can tell you, I don't. It's a nightmare. So even though it's a simulator, it's definitely physically challenging. We're not in California driving IndyCars for real, but it's not easy.
Yeah. Back here in 7th spot with Brian Carey. Another Power Slide entry in the top 10. Power Slide currently in 3rd and 7th. He has slower traffic in front of him and is starting to back up 8th, 9th, and 10th into direct contact here with Carey in 7th. And that's Sylvian. Trying to get out of the way there. 14. And allowing everyone on by. So that gives Carey a little bit of a breathing room over Alexi, Sandberg, and Fernandez. Fernandez, we haven't really talked about there. Is in that black and looks like a deep purple.
He's one of many drivers who's been just quietly going about their business, but he's finding himself in a top 10 position here, looking quite strong with potential to go forward. In many ways, exactly the kind of race you want when you're starting in the midfield. You know, he started in P10, he's still in P10, and still with potential to do good things here towards the end. He's in contention.
Is that this team name, Fast Repair Motorsport? That's funny.
That's a great name. Unfortunately, none of those here, as Henkel find out.
No fast repairs today, but that is a very, I think it's a creative name. I will tell you how hard it is to come up with a unique and creative name in iRacing or anything. It's just so difficult. And the reason why I say that is I know from personal experience, because we just had to come up with a new name for our new channel. And we went through so many suggestions and threw so much spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick. And what sounded good to one didn't sound good to someone else. And then what sounded good, and then you go and Google search it, and you might find out it's someone's OnlyFans page or something like that. You're like, oh God, I can't call it that now. So it is difficult to come up with creative and unique names. I like Fast Repair Motorsports. I like it. Hopefully it doesn't indicate that they need those fast repairs a lot. I don't think he does, judging by where he's racing and how well he's done today. But we still have a little bit more than a third of the race to go.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But like I said, he's been driving a steady race so far, quiet race. But that's what you want, and certainly if you don't want to be taking fast repairs, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And you know, Shalabanov, Sandberg, and now Fernandez as well. They are very, very close together. I mean, Sandberg hasn't been able to make the move on Shalabanov, even though he's on the preferred tire. It's a great job by Shalabanov for managing to hang on those primary tires. But again, now Fernandez is getting a little closer to these guys, so maybe he's going to be able to do something or make something happen. And behind them, Breton and Weiser, they're still going at it. I mean, very, very close to each other. They've had similar pace throughout the entire race, and they just can't seem to get away from each other.
I do love seeing these, and I don't see them really in the IndyCar Open or in the Oval Series participants, but from the likes of Sven Newman, his team, Alexi has a team there, it looks like on the side of his car. Fernandez has a team on the side of his car. All these teams that we just show up for IIS, I love seeing them. I like to see them in more than just the IIS. I like to see them, participate in fixed or in the open ranks. Maybe we'll see some of these teams participate in some of these other leagues like VCO that you were mentioning earlier, Christian, or possibly in the Pro Series. I think this car is starting to catch on again and get a lot of momentum back on this service. And I think a lot of people are getting more excited about the future of IndyCar on the service since it's come back.
Absolutely. I mean, we're seeing it on IIS. We've been having good strength of fields all season long, in every single split or every single time slot pretty much. We're seeing more than 4,000 strength of field, and even at the start of the season we're seeing up to 5,000. And it's not dropped off that much, which you would sort of expect it to. So I think people are definitely catching on, and with VCO and the Pro Series coming up, even for a lot of drivers who are not realistically going to be in contention for it, I think it's going to be a fun thing for them to do. We're seeing professional teams and a lot more of more casual drivers giving the IndyCar a chance and finding it to be the best car in the service, as it is.
And a lot of these races are going to be broadcast, whether it be over there on RaceSpot, or we'll be covering a good number of them when we move the ER in, or when we get our own channel here shortly thereafter that. We tend to bring a lot of these races our broadcast, so trying to give as much screen time to these guys as possible.
But yeah, for sure, a lot of momentum. I mean, kind of the Indy 500 started it all, like when it came back, and everybody wants to race it, which it's one of the best events on iRacing. To me, the best one. But I'm biased.
You're biased,
and,
yeah.
I know I'm biased. But then afterwards, we got that announcement of the Pro Series. So we have seen huge fields in pretty much all of the official series for IndyCar. We just saw it on last Tuesday. We had a lot of guys that are originally coming from the NASCAR world.
Oh, yes.
They were dipping into the Fixed Series and the Fixed Double Series, and they were competing, doing a great job. But that just goes to show you that, the interest is definitely up all across the board, not only on the not only on the road courses, but for the entire spectrum that this car manages to race on.
Sorry, giving you my commentary here on watching Alex Van de Sant, who is now, I'm sure, giving an earful to Sam Fitzpatrick in front of him. Trying to get around him. He bounced off a couple curves there. He locks up his left front going into the corkscrew.
Looks like Sam's missing rear wing here. Maybe that's just on my end. He seems to be performing just fine, but on
he's
my end, his rear wing is dangling.
He is good to go here, but Alex gets around him.
Finally, yeah.
And speaking of Alex, he's been slowly but surely closing in on Kevin here, and with a gap of 4.5 seconds, now 5 seconds, because he lost a bit of time here, he will have a real shot at overtaking Kevin, especially since he's going longer. He's going to have very, very fresh alternate tires to work with Kevin on primaries. Kevin might be a sitting duck here.
Craig not that far behind Alex, about 2.5 seconds.
We also have Sven Neumann, slowly but surely, closing in on Hayato Matsuda.
Yeah, watching that one too, and as one of the core sim racing team guys. He is a teammate to Pascal Stix. Again, the best name in all this of the service. I'd like for him to get into the on a podium someday, so we can at least talk to him on the program.
Yeah, he seems to be running the Friday races only for now, which makes it even more impressive that he's doing so well in the championship. Of course, both Kevin, Phil, and even myself have been running multiple splits a week on most weeks, whereas Pascal is doing one and doing very well in that one race. That's the kind of consistency that you need to be challenging for the championship. Unfortunately for him yesterday, he ended up being caught up in an incident, so a big blow to his championship hopes here. Maybe that could have meant we saw him today, but clearly he did not have the time or didn't prioritize it either way.
Just so people know, the IIS races the same weeks that the real NTT IndyCar Series races. And this schedule of the IIS, to the best of its ability, mirrors the NTT IndyCar schedule, with a few exceptions. Of course, we don't have St. Petersburg, we don't have Toronto, we don't have Portland in real life, so those are going to be substituted, and we don't have Thermal, but they'll be substituted by, like Thermal was substituted by Fontana. I think Portland's going to be substituted by Watkins Glen. Montreal will substitute for Toronto, so forth and so on. Yep. There are 4 races a week on IIS weeks. There's a Wednesday race, a Friday race, 2 Saturday races, and that's in the Eastern time zone for the USA. So all the times when they're originally planned is GMT time. So it's a lot. It looks a lot more spread out across the world. But in terms of the Eastern time zone, there's a Wednesday race, a Friday race, and then 2 on Saturday, and that is it. You only have 4 opportunities during the week to race IIS. It's not like fixed where you have every 2 hours there's a fixed race going on, or it's not like open where there's same thing, every 2 hours there's a race going on all week long. There's only 4 opportunities for you to race. So if you have a bad race, you need to get back in there and try to audit that score out. And if you don't have time, there's fewer opportunities here for the IIS, and that's what makes the IIS a lot more prestigious than kind of just the open or the fixed series, is because there's fewer opportunities for you to go out there and to pad your score.
Yes, and even among those, sorry, go ahead, Antonio.
Super quickly, just Birel pitting in for his last one.
Final stop.
Ricky. I'm sure he's going to be going to the primary.
There he goes. Yep, he's going to the primes.
Yeah, no choice, of course, for Kevin, who's been running alternates for the first 3 stints. And with a tire change mandated here, he has to be going on to those primaries. And that's going to make him vulnerable to Alex Van de Zandt. And of course, we expect Alex Van de Zandt to be going to lap 75 here, so he's going to be going 3 laps longer. He's probably going to be quicker at this part of the stint than Kevin will be.
Watch this rejoin here. He's going to have these cold tires. Need to bring them up. Let's take a look at the track temp. Track temp's 113, so those will heat up a little faster than normal, but Matsuda right behind him with a hot set. Still needs to stop. Sven Newman back there as well.
And Will Weiser also went into the pits, as now Van de Zandt is pitting. He's going to try and get rid of those primaries and go to the alternates as soon as he can. He saved a lot of fuel, and he could potentially have gone another maybe 2 or 3 laps, but he's going to be moving to the alternate in order to be able to attack Birel. And Weiser pitting, that's probably an undercut, and let's see if that works on Alain Bertot. They have been working or fighting each other throughout the entire race. Let's see if that actually makes him
Here's Matsuda coming to pit road. And there goes
Burrell. Out.
Here comes Sven Newman, but Sven still needs to stop, I believe.
Correct. Sven has not stopped yet. He will probably be stopping within 1 or 2 laps here. VDS crucially beats him out of the pits because I don't think Sven would be very keen to give up that position to him.
Right.
So now he can start chasing Kevin. Kevin's right there. I think Kevin's in trouble.
Yeah, 1.3 seconds is the difference right now between Birel and Van de Zandt. Van de Zandt did a great job and was able to get just in front of the guy behind him. So now he's just trailing Birel on track.
And of course, that's the fuel save coming into play.
And a lap car. Lap cars involved here too.
Fuel quite a bit less. 3 laps less than Kevin. That's a lot of time saved in the pits.
Short fill.
4 seconds becomes 1.3.
Short fill, but lap traffic is not making things easier. That's Lucas Adato, who pulls off the pit road. So that's all good there. And Sven Newman coming to pit road. So last scheduled stop for those two.
Krauss also in and out of pit road. Correct, coming out.
Well behind the battle for P2 here.
Yeah.
Just to return to the point about Pascal Stakes not having a result yesterday and having to make it up. The other thing about IIS is, sure, you have 4 slots every single week. Usually Friday and the first Saturday slot is quite significantly stronger than Wednesday and the second Saturday slot, which means that, sure, you can get a result from the 2 lower SOF races, but if you want to be in championship contention, you probably should be racing either this slot or the one on Friday.
Van de Zandt is now under a second behind Birel there.
His tires are coming up to temp now. He should be seeing the best of those alternates right now, as Kevin is still going to be struggling to even get the primaries up to temperature. This is going to be very difficult for Kevin to keep Alexander behind.
There's also a drop week. Don't you get drop weeks from the IIS as well?
You do get drop weeks. So obviously you can live with a couple of results not being quite there, but you don't want too many low point scores because eventually, if you have enough of those, or if if you're like me or Pascal, who will struggle to get good points on the ovals, you really cannot afford to have a bad point score on a road course.
Something tells me you'll do just fine on the ovals. I just have a gut feeling.
Well, that's all well and good, but if you're not in top split, it's not going to matter.
Right.
And just like that, Bandison is there.
Yeah, he's there.
Last time by, he was half a second quicker than Burrell. And I think this is going to be happening, perhaps.
We're almost there.
I thought it was going to happen there, but it might happen here in turn 2. He's going to get a great exit, and
on
he's
the
on
button.
the button.
Yeah, Kevin doesn't even defend it. He knows.
On the button right there, you see on the steering wheel when the green border lights up there on the pie readout.
So move Alex Bandison up to second.
Making it a power slide 1-2 and IAR 3-4.
Wasn't feeling private label team hype. Yeah.
It still is, but now with power slide instead of team talent.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
you missed the pre-race discussion about all of the moving and shaking that's happened in the IndyCar community after the post Indy 500 mergers and shakeups and ads and yeah.
And of course, it's very easy to miss with both team talent and power slide having blue names in the IndyCar community Discord.
Right. Yeah.
They were very covert about it. I wouldn't have noticed if not for Kevin sending me a message letting me know.
Yeah.
That it was very over. We had a new super mega power team. Hyperslide.
Hyperslide.
Yeah, that's a question about I was going to bring up as well with regards to racing in the series or just the IndyCar on iRacing in general. Again, it's a question for Christian. Do you find or do you think if you want to progress in an IndyCar on iRacing, if you want to get better especially, or even quicker, do you find being in a big team with loads of drivers and loads of resources is possibly the best chance, or do you think maybe being in a team that's still good, but maybe with not as many drivers or maybe less resources, can you still progress?
Well, I mean, obviously the optimal thing would always be to have the best teammates who are making the best setups, right? That's where you can learn the most from the other drivers. And also, what a lot of people don't realize is these very fast setups are difficult to drive. So in order for you to be able to drive them, you have to improve. I think that was something that really helped me is when I initially started, driving the IndyCar, I was in setup shop setups. They were very understeery. Trying out Kevin's setups made me a better driver because they were oversteering. I had to deal with that. So that's definitely something that's going to help you out a lot. But that said, you can't just walk into Power Slide or i5G or Satellite Racing or IAR. You have to prove yourself. So in that sense, I think it's a good idea to try and find a team that's sort of at your level, that are, willing to teach you, and so you can help each other get better, work on setups, and, improve at your own pace, really. If you're just aiming to beat Phil Krauss, and you want to do it tomorrow, you're gonna have a bad time. You got to trust the process. It takes time.
Yeah, I've always the way I've always went about it in anything on iRacing, any series, any discipline, any cars, basically don't worry about. I know I'll never be close to the top guns or top drivers when it comes to pace. So it's kind of the way I go about it. I always tell myself just to focus on myself and just basically kind of try and not focus on trying to get close to the drivers up at the front, but maybe just try and find more pace within myself, and just basically eventually it'll come. But basically, don't stress about being off the pace of the top drivers, because in this series especially, most of these top drivers have been racing an IndyCar for God knows how long. Yeah,
and this IndyCar is a difficult one to drive. I'm coming from more of a prototype background, and you'd think it's pretty similar. It's a light car with big wings. Surely it can't be that different. Well, it is. It is very different. Of course, there are transferable skills, but the IndyCar wants some very different inputs than a GTP car or an LMP2 car. So you have to not only, learn the fundamentals of racing, you also have to learn the fundamentals of how does the Dallara IR18 want to be driven. And that's where there's a lot of benefit to having teammates. If you know that you're on the same setup as someone else, you can't hide anywhere. You know, you're going to know that if this guy's 3/10 quicker than me, that's because I need to drive better. And then you can look at their telemetry, see what they're doing differently, or even just their laps, you know, and they can tell you. That's where the value of having a team is. But as far as, you know, comparing yourself to the guys who are running right at the very front of the field, it's difficult. You don't know what setup they're running. It's probably better than what you're running if you're, you know, in the mid-pack. So really just, you know, finding a team at your level is going to provide a lot of value and help you where you know where you need to improve.
The excitement with these cars, the excitement with these cars is getting more and more people involved. Though I was talking with Justin Petschauer, who is like the community ambassador really for IIS. He's like the biggest cheerleader for it, and thank God because we need more people like that in the community. And he, of course, he's on our Tuesday broadcast as one of the commentators. Was telling me that a number of the NASCAR guys that race in the weekly NASCAR series are just kind of not liking the new next-gen car, and they want to try something different, and they're hearing good things about this IndyCar. And we got a lot of stuff to look forward to with this IndyCar. We got the hybrids still to come. You know, we're still going to we're going to get pushed to pass on an oval at some point. So many exciting things to happen with this car. So many new teams are going to spring it up, and there's going to be a whole pool of other drivers out there that people should probably look out for because they're going to be extremely talented because they're coming from, let's say, LMPs or GTs or even NASCAR that want to try these cars out. And we want to keep those people in this community and help them grow. And the more this community grows, I always argue that also helps the sport overall because it gets more eyeballs on the sport. So a lot of things going on, a lot of things to be excited about with this car.
100% to be excited about here. Sorry to interrupt you, but we've got Alain Berteau, who's been slowly dropping back. Well, he's back on the alternates right now and closing in on Anders Sandberg.
Yep, got him. Real quick.
Yeah, that's the closest battle on track, and you know, they have been fighting a little bit.
Now, Phil's right behind him. They want to go. Phil's right behind him.
It'll be interesting to see how Alan handles it. Oh, he goes wide. I imagine he's probably just going to give it up to Phil right here.
Yeah, Phil on the bottom, not wasting any time.
And just as quickly as we focused in on that battle, it's broken up.
And now we're lapped up to Sandberg in 9th. That's the next car that's going to be on target for Phil Krauss. Real quick, I just put the graphic up on the screen. I'll bring it up again. Here, Mid-Ohio, the next race, round 10 in Mid-Ohio, will be on ERN. That's the Elite Racing Network. Everything you need to know about how to find us here in 2 weeks will be in the description. To join to subscribe to the ERN channel on YouTube, to go to their Discord, to join their Discord for post-race interviews, or just you want to discuss, or even if you just want to check out the ERN, and that's the ERL, the Elite Racing League, the number of series they have for private leagues. You want to check those out too. There's an ERL IndyCar League, which I will be broadcasting on Thursdays starting in August 1st. But that's what we'll be for the remainder of the IIS season. So the final race will be in September. So we'll be running on ERN through the end of September or through mid-September at the last race at the Nashville Super Speedway. Phil Krauss getting around Sandberg now. He is now lapped up to 8th. Next on his target list is Sergio Fernandez, who is a little ways up the road. He might have enough time to stay on the lead lap before Phil catches him, but it is Phil Krauss, Alex Van de Sant 2nd, Kevin Burrell 3rd, Rashad Craig 4th, Hayao Matsuda is their 5th. A very quiet race again for him, and then really that's probably the closest battle on the racetrack now is hit between him and Newman for 5th and 6th. Shebanov 7th, Fernandez 8th, Sandberg 9th, and Berteau in 10th. Thanks for joining us. And if you have not done so already, make sure you, in the description, hit our GoFundMe and donate to the broadcast fund. This is our last race on Race First, so now more than ever we could use your donations as we move on to a new future. And if you could donate, we certainly would appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. Get back into the action here in the final laps of this race, 83 of 95 in the books.
Yeah, and I think Berteau has the advantage here because he's on the alternate as Sandberg had to go to the primes here. But I think, if I'm correct, he's out of push to pass. I'm showing that on my overlay, and I think Sandberg still has a couple of presses on the bottom left.
I show 3 for Berteau, 5 for Sandberg. The only driver that is out completely is Lionel Mays. They're back in 14th. He is Winchester, but everyone else at least has a couple left right now.
And with Allen being on the alternates, it's easier to assume he's going to have a big advantage here. But even though the alternate is definitely the preferred tire, they do even out. Once you settle into the stint, the alternates and the primes are about the same pace. The advantage to the alternates really is in the first 5 laps, and we're well past that for Alan Berteau here. So it's not going to be easy for him to get past Anders, especially with a push-to-pass disadvantage here.
And the push-to-pass situation, Krauss has 4, Vandeson has 3, Kevin Burrell has 5, Rashad Craig 6, and Matsuda has 9. Matsuda just kind of cruising all by himself there in 5th spot and with plenty to spare.
Yeah, but Neumann closing in.
Great news, yeah. Great news for Hayato that he's got those push-to-passes with Sven Neumann very close behind.
And Sven only has 2, so advantage Matsuda at the moment.
But even with 9 push-to-passes, you never know around here. It's very easy to make a mistake. We saw even Phil Krauss do it earlier as he was chasing down Kevin Burrell. So when you have a car as close as Sven Neumann is behind you right now, one mistake, it doesn't matter if you have 9 push-to-passes, he's going to go right past you, and then you're going to have to make up those places. And it's a difficult place to pass. It's difficult to stay close behind. So push-to-pass does not necessarily mean that you're going to have it for free.
Well, let's look ahead. We're going from one difficult place to pass to another difficult place to pass at Mid-Ohio. Literally, there's like really only 2, maybe 3 places to pass there. What are your thoughts on Mid-Ohio?
Go ahead, Christian.
I'm slightly skewed by the VCO pre-qualifier being there, so I've done a lot of laps at Mid-Ohio lately. I'm maybe a little bit tired of it, but it's a fantastic track. It's very, very technical. It's flowing. You got undulations. You got some very, very tricky corners coming over the tops of hills where the car's going to break loose. It's a phenomenal track. Difficult to pass on, yes, but a fantastic track to hot lap. And, you know, it's also not impossible to overtake. You do have a couple of good overtaking spots into the keyhole and, of course, at the end of the back straight. Yeah. So I think Mid-Ohio is a fantastic track.
I wish, though, they could get that start sorted out for you and allow you to start where the real IndyCar series starts on that back stretch instead of everybody's trying to slam into that little front stretch there and that very short pit road stretch right there before turn 1.
Yeah, they can do it for Spa in iRacing, so I don't know why they can't do it in... Actually, can they? Is Spa just a start line, or is it a start-finish line when you're using the endurance pits?
I would imagine that if you're using the endurance pits, it's a separate configuration.
It is, yeah, but you're starting coming out towards Eau Rouge, but I believe the finish line is still coming out of the bus stop chicane, so they can do it for Spa. Would be nice if they did it for Mid-Ohio as well, because that start is carnage.
Yes, yes it is.
Yeah, turn 1 becomes a cluster. Yeah,
to say the least.
As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure the reason VCO went there for pre-qualifying and not for the race is for that exact reason, that they don't want to deal with the start on that short straight. Is just too chaotic.
I know some leagues that actually tell people to stay in formation, and then they will call the start out on their own. One of the admins will go over the voice channel and just say green flag, and then everyone could go at a certain point on that stretch. But yeah, it'd be nice if iRacing could put a little bit more dev work into IndyCar on some of these tracks. How about make some variable pit road speed limits so we don't have to go like 35 miles an hour at some of those NASCAR tracks? But anyways, we're about coming to 8 to go. Phil Krauss is your leader. Phil looking to go 3-4-3. He won split the race 1, which had a top split of 40-23. He beat Jaden Munoz and Agustin Canapino, the pro, in that particular race. Canapino finished 3rd. And race 2, which was Friday afternoon, Phil Krauss won that one. Unfortunately, forced Christian here into retirement. And Christian finished 2nd there in front of Andreas Heinkel, who finished 3rd. That was a 44-48. in terms of the strength of field. Today's strength of field not quite as high as yesterday's. It was a 42-86 6 splits, though. That's pretty good. But right now, Krauss looking to go 3 for 3. Van de Sant second. Burrell third. Burrell looking to at least try to keep pace in the championship by getting the bottom step of the podium here.
But Burrell is getting closed down right now by his teammate Rashad Craig. I imagine they'll be respectful with each other, even if Rashad does close in. I don't see any overambitious moves coming, but that's definitely one to keep an eye on. We do have some battles at the shop end of the field, of course, with the 2 IAR drivers, but also still Hayato Matsuda and Sven Neumann within half a second now.
Matsuda has used a couple of those push to passes. He's down to 8 now. He could use more than one a lap and still have one in reserve coming to the checkered flag if he needs to.
I think that's been exactly his plan. Just bank them and make sure no one could get even close to him towards the end of the race.
Yeah, and they are both driving the same exact lap time. Last time by 108.94 for Matsuda, 108.95 for Neumann. There's a mistake. You were talking about it.
Exactly what we were talking about. Now he has to use the push to pass in response.
And they're both on the button. And Sven's actually answering with on the button, but he only has one push left. Then actually goes a little wide in that corner. I think he kind of missed his braking point just by a little bit.
Gathered it up though, and now Hayato has a ton of work to do. Yes, he has to push the passes, but is that going to be enough? I'm not sure.
Got a great run from Neumann there to get away and build a little bit of a gap there. Up to half a second now already.
Yeah, the dirty air really affecting Hayato. You can see that they were running at a similar pace. Maybe Sven had a little bit more already, hence he was able to catch up. Now Hayato is just going to be struggling to try to keep up.
Did not have a good Sven did not have a good corkscrew that entry that time. Gap closes. All right, let's see. Matsuda might be on the button.
Go on the button. Yeah, definitely.
Yep, there he is on the button. You see right there on the readout of his Pi Dash, the green lights.
Not close enough.
Yeah, I think if I'm Matsuda in this position, I am using multiple push to passes a lap to try and really make sure I can stay close. Because it's so difficult to actually get within that half a second, and that's not enough to make a move on the front straight. It's not enough to make a move on the straight we're making our way onto now towards turn 5. And then you have one more opportunity towards the corkscrew, but if you're not getting within 2/10 on the corner exit, it's not enough.
And it's a good turn 6 for Neumann there. He gets a 10 on Matsuda. Yeah, he's driving away. I don't think Hayato is going to be able to catch him back.
Yeah, it looks like his chance was to try and repass immediately, and Sven was able to keep it, and he just seems to have a little bit more in the tank.
Yeah, Hayato not even on the bottom now. I think he realized that he's not close enough, and that's probably going to be a waste.
Still 5 laps to go. Anything can happen. Oh. Matsuda getting a little squirrely on corner exit there coming out of the Andretti curves. So I'm telling you that, I mean, a lot of the corners here at the Laguna Seca have driver names to them. If they do not rename the corkscrew the Zanardi corkscrew, that is going to be a crime.
Yeah, that's potentially the only name that could be added there if they add it.
Yeah, it's got to be the Zanardi corkscrew.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe, Gary, you can run us through a lap here with all the correct names. Of course, I did a bit of a lap guide here earlier, but that was just turn 2, 3, 4, 5, so on. Of course, they have some iconic corner names here.
Yeah, I'm not as knowledgeable on them as they used to be, but the first turn here, we got coming up, is the Andretti hairpin. I call it the Andretti curves because really it's a double apex corner. So this is the Andretti hairpin. It could be after Michael, but I'm assuming Mario. And then that's technically turn 2, because turn 1 is that little dog leg coming to turn 2, going through 3. That doesn't have a name yet. But 4. I mean, I think a turn here should be named after the Herta family at some point. They have a lot of wins here. And coming to 5, no turn name here. So then coming up to 6, that definitely needs to have a turn name, knowing how difficult it is. But this is really the Ray Hall Straight. And into, let's just call it, this is an Artie corkscrew. And then to the rainy curve here at 9. And 10 and 11 do not have names.
Still plenty of room for driver names to be added there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like a track as iconic as Laguna Seca needs more. Obviously, we have the corkscrew and rainy curve and the Andretti hairpin, but there's so much more space for these iconic corners to have some more unique names than turns 3 and 4.
Yep. 3 laps to go. This is the closest battle on the racetrack between Newman and Matsuda. Also a pretty close battle with Rashad Craig, who is experiencing lap traffic in front of him. Whoa.
He was super close to Burrell, but then, caught Palivay at a really bad moment.
Time, yeah.
Did incorrectly.
I really let him go on the inside of rainy curve here. It's not what you want.
But also Burrell in a lot of traffic as well, so, I mean, there could potentially be something happening. I know they're teammates, but, at the end of the day, it's for a podium position.
Yeah, I would imagine with 2 to go, team orders are off.
Yeah, exactly.
That might be exactly when the team orders are most important.
But also, they're not that close to each other.
They
still have
is not in striking distance.
Oof. Burrell power slides through, 4, trying to track down the power slide driver.
He's actually closed in on VDS again.
Yeah.
It looked like VDS had it in the bag, but getting closer again. But at lap 94, I think he's going to be running out of time.
Yeah. 1.42 behind the sand for Burrell, and 1.8 to Craig behind him. So, yeah, he's kind of on an island, although Vandersen is coming up.
He's got lap traffic in front of him. That's Birkenfeld and Green and Bruteau. Well, who's in front of it? It's Green's one of them.
Green.
Yeah.
Green and Birkenfeld.
Birkenfeld was the first one. He passed him, but now he's got Green in front of him. Green in the green car.
Also, white flag is out.
Yep, Phil Krauss coming towards turn 6 right now on his final lap. And on the last lap, he did a 107.6. I believe that might be quicker than anyone else has done on the alternates. Phil Krauss is currently on the primaries.
And
what a drive, man.
Down the hill, down to the bottom portion of the racetrack. Just a couple of more turns to go. Getting ready to go 3 for 3 and extending his lead in the IIS Championship. Just a little bit larger going into Mid-Ohio. Phil Krauss, Dr. Phil, the alien, call him what you will, is your winner here at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, and he lapped all the way to 8th. Sergio Fernandez was the last victim. Shalovana was in front of him, so he, lucky that the race ended.
He survived. He survived.
And VDS coming through the final corner. It looks like we're going to have no changes in the rest of the top 5 here. VDS across the line. Kevin Burrell follows, and now Rashad Craig as well.
And we still got Sven Newman making some laps here, coming through the corkscrew, down the hill. Final combination left, right, left, and to the checkers. So for the core eSports team, a top 5 for them, Matsuda. The Independent and the Scotty Dixon livery, going to bring that home in a good, solid top 10.
And Shalovana, P7. Great run for him.
I just have to point out, Philip Krauss started P26, gained 25 spots, won by 24 seconds.
And it's not surprising, really.
It's not really. Like, we saw this coming. We saw this coming.
But he made it exciting for us, so he wins the Mr. Excitement Award for today.
Oh, no question about it.
He sure does. It pays nothing. It just gives you the nickname. But let's get into the final standings here at Mid-Ohio. Or it's not Mid-Ohio. Laguna Seca. Mid-Ohio is next. And there we go. Bring him up on the screen. Bill Krauss, 3-stopper, 25-spot improvement, led 46 laps. Your winner by 24 seconds over Alex Van Ascent, who improved 7 spots. Also on a 3-stopper. Managed only to lead 3 laps, but really his strategy got him to where he finished. He did, started about 10th. And by just staying out longer and doing some mileage and some savvy driving, he worked his way up into the podium spot there. So a great finish for Alex. Kevin Burrell finished where he started and led 1 lap. He is the bottom step of the podium. Craig is 4th. Newman's 5th. Matsuda 6th. Shebanov is 7th. Fernandez 8th. Sandberg 9th. And Buteau 10th. That is your top 10. Watkins, name that we didn't really talk about Richard Watkins all race long, but comes home 11th. Fitzpatrick in 12th. Mitchell Bott, is 13th. Lionel Mays 14th. Jason Green 15th. Ladato 16th. Pally Bay 17th. Moraine 18th. Rizal 19th. Birkenfeld in the 20th. And on the last page here, the reminder of the 27-car field. Hinkle, who really dominated the first, I would say, half of this race, led 44 laps, had an incident that led him into the tire barrier that took out, turn 5 there, took out his rear wing, and then it was a rough day after that. Finishes 21st. Enger, 27th. Brian Carey, we didn't see what happened to him. He was in the top 10 for a lot of the day, 23rd. Will Weiser, we didn't see what happened to him. He was up in the lower portion of the top 10 for much of the day. He finishes 24th. Vander's Andy, Quilicini, and Nodeb finishes 25th, 26th, and 27th. And Kevin Burrell, the general, is in the interview room. Let's bring him on up in here. Kevin, the general, you there?
I sure am.
Welcome to the podium. Not exactly probably where you wanted to finish because you lost a little ground to Phil in the championship, but man, this is a long race, and just to finish on the podium, there's got to be some accomplishment, Phil, that you got to feel out of this. Talk about your race here at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, obviously I was pretty happy to qualify where I did. Rashad had a really, really nice qual lap. I mean, I think the lap that he got for qual was pretty much exactly what I thought was possible for me in qual, and he rolled up and nailed it. So, that was good. And then once he got through me pretty early, there was a long, I'm sure you saw it, we were just kind of chilling. He was driving, I was fuel saving behind him and just trying not to really, I basically just used him as a ghost car for almost 2 full stints. I mean, it was a good time. And then of course, he had his little moment, rolled off the track and, got back in it, and no real injury, no car damage, and not really even that much tire wear, and that let me stay ahead for a while. Maybe I should have gone primes on the 3rd stint once the track started getting hot, and then had the alts to kind of try and hold off at the end. But I got afraid, and that's something I do a lot. Mess up and make the wrong track call because I was afraid of losing track position. So we could see how well that worked out for me in the end with Alex passing through. But it was a really fun race. I mean, it was a really good, really good battle between all of us. And then meanwhile, Phil is off in a multi-class.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So you finished 2nd in class today, really, if you think about it. Anybody have any questions
I'll take that.
Yeah. Anybody? Unfortunately, it only pays 3rd points. So anybody have any questions for the general Kevin Burrell on his P3 here at Laguna Seca?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Kevin, yesterday you were complaining the race was boring. Did you find this one a bit more interesting?
Oh, this was definitely more interesting. Both from a getting around traffic perspective, and also just we had a good battle going on. Me and VDS and Rashad. I really didn't know how that was all going to shake out, and I thought Andreas Henkel was going to actually blast through all of us, and unfortunately he had a moment. So, but yeah, this was a really exciting race. I mean, it might not seem like it. I mean, 95 laps at Laguna Seca is pretty brutal, but there's not really a lot of downtime, But
No.
last time, I mean, we were decided. I mean, Christian was there. He saw it. It was like, well, okay, I am fighting for nothing with like an hour and 20 minutes of racing to go. Cool. And no, this was I think definitely better. So
yeah, this time you had a lot of cars around you this time. Obviously that makes it more exciting, but you also touched on it shortly there. Laguna Seca is a relentless track, so how do you stay focused while the corners are coming at you quickly, and now you're also battling 3 or 4 other cars at the same time?
That's a hard. Yeah, I mean that's definitely, it's tough. It's easy to just and the thing is too is any slight slip up here. It's not just like, oh, I'm rolling off outside of the corner. It's, oh well, I'm gone spinning because my rear tires went off or something like that. It can go really wrong really fast. But actually, if anything, I think having Rashad driving in front of me for so long, and then also having VDS driving in front of me for a while, it just let me follow them like I was like doing ghost practice. And I also, I keep my session optimal delta on. I probably should have thrown on session last lap, but I am a big, maybe this is the sim racer and not like caring about realism in any way in me coming out, but I just really like driving to a delta. So it was a matter of just really focusing on trying to never lose anything at the delta as much as I could. And yeah, I mean, it was fun. Honestly, it was fun. It was a really good race.
Yeah, we were talking about in the race, you mentioned it, that 95 laps here, a long time, and I think you guys done of every bit of 2 hours behind the wheel now, 95 laps here.
Yeah.
Hitting at
starting at 3 a.m.
Yeah, at 3 a.m. for you. But the
3
only
3 a.m. on my birthday, actually.
Oh, well, happy birthday in that case.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
But in that case, there's really Christian was saying there's not a lot of places to rest here because the track is so relentless, and the time you do have the rest is when you go to pit road, and you do the 3 stops on pit road. You're doing in 2 hours. You're only resting a grand total, or allowing yourself to rest a grand total of roughly 90 seconds, maybe 100 seconds.
Quick little water swig there, and just hope it's not like. Plus, it's not even like like a IMSA like GTP stop or something. You're not waiting like over a minute in the pits.
Right,
it's a pretty quick in and out. So, and the pit entry and exit are both quite scary here. So the whole time I'm in the box, I'm like, oh my god, I have to exit the pits. So it's it's not great.
It's the second half of the pit stop, getting to the pit stop and then getting out of the pit stop. Shout outs, friends.
I mean, VDS gained like almost 2.5 seconds or something.
I don't know. He manages those.
Insane.
He's insane when he hits those laps. He's so good there. He nails those markers and just gains so much time on people. But shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, finishing third here before we move on to Mid Ohio next in a couple weeks.
The IAR guys, obviously. Sam, Seb, Rashad. Jesper, everyone was giving some feedback this week and, doing some testing, just see kind of how we felt about it. Rashad threw some little spicy tweaks on the set at the end that I didn't run today because I hadn't tested them. I guess they worked pretty well for him, so I don't know. Maybe I should have. But and also to my parents, they were watching. Because my birthday today is my dad's birthday 3 days ago, and I'm across the world, so I didn't get to help celebrate. But happy belated birthday to him too.
All right, that's awesome.
I think they're watching. So yeah, see you guys, and thanks for of course everything you do. I'll be at Mid Ohio as well. So
and don't forget the next one's on ERN. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes. Cool. See you then.
Yeah. And he's out. And where did Alex was there, but he jumped out. Maybe he had to go. But we do have Bill Krauss here in the booth with us. Man, What is it with you in this place? 3 for 3 this week already, and you forced Christian to retirement this weekend. He says, "Nope, I'm not going to get beat by 16 seconds again by Phil Krauss." And not only did you beat everybody, you came from the back and then beat him by 24 seconds.
Yeah, it was a good race for sure. It was fun driving from the back to the front of the field for sure. But yeah, definitely some hairy moments starting back there because everyone's pretty hectic at the start of these races.
Well, what about this course you like? What plays into the Philip Krauss wheelhouse here at Laguna Seca? How are you so good? Setup aside, I mean, is it just the style? It flows well for you? Just lots of practice? I mean, what makes you so good here?
I mean, at this point with the 3 IIS races and open on Monday, I've done 300 laps here, so that definitely helps a little bit. But I don't even know if it's an amazing track for me because on Monday Michele was absolutely rapid. I was telling Christian this after IIS yesterday, he curb stomped the field pretty good. And he was still one of the quickest cars on track with half a wing. But yeah, I enjoy just driving this track. This is going to be a controversial take. One of my least favorite corners here is the corkscrew.
I don't blame you.
On the track
I don't blame you.
The 2 corners after the corkscrew. But yeah, I know a lot of people are big fans of the corkscrew, and I'm not one of them really.
I don't blame you. Any questions for Phil here? For just stomping everyone into today?
Just super quickly, Phil. We saw that you were behind Burrell when you were doing that first challenge, and you kind of went a lap ahead. So you kind of did an uppercut on him that actually got you ahead, and then you came out. You were going to come out behind Henkel there, but unfortunately he had an issue. What can you tell us a little bit about that?
The overcut. Yeah. It wasn't really a hard feel safe to do. I just was chilling in map 3 because I had already destroyed my front tires. I tried a camber change before the race for giggles. No bueno. no right front gone. So yeah, I went the extra lap because the Reds is not just the Reds, but every compound this week has really struggled to fire up on that outlap. And that was able to get me past Kevin.
Well, that was cool. And you were still the fastest car on the track. So even if you were chattering a little bit on that front tire, so kudos, man. That was amazing to watch. And you earned the Mr. Excitement Award for today.
Thank you.
Before we move on here, next stop is Mid-Ohio. I suspect that you probably have some practice ahead of you for Mid-Ohio, but something tells me that you're going to probably run there pretty well. Thoughts on Mid-Ohio before we move on?
Definitely got a handful of laps there. The VCO IndyCar Challenge Series prepared a lot of us really well for that track. Obviously, the actual races in Mid-Ohio will be a lot longer than 10 laps, but I think a lot of us have a good basis to start with. But yeah, I didn't really like Mid-Ohio before all that, but I found a little bit of an appreciation for it, but still not one of my favorites.
Understood. I know it's not a lot of people's favorites either. Shout outs, friends, family, sponsors. Anybody you want to say hi to before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your Saturday?
Just the private label team, Hype Gang, as always. Private label themselves, Ethica, all the partners over there, and all my teammates over at Powerslide Motorsports.
All right. Well, congratulations, and next time we'll see you when we broadcast over on ERN.
Yep, sounds good, Gary.
All
Thanks
right.
for putting these on as always.
No problem. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's good to see you race. Congrats, and we'll see you at the next one.
Yep.
All right, and we did have I did see Alex, but he must have had to take off. He was in the interview room. It's been a while since we had him on here. He was one of Race First's first drivers on the when we had a team Race First. He was on the team for a while, so I was looking forward to talking with him. But being at our last race here on Race First, so fellas, that's it. We got Justin Petschauer here, who's joined us here in the booth. Justin, how did we do?
Well, we started 20th 6th, finished 10th, 2 laps down. Had a bit of a hiccup going through the corkscrew early on, courtesy of my wheel, being as old as it is, deciding to short circuit, shut off the engine at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh, no.
It's 13 and a half, almost 14 years old, so it's put in good use.
It's time for a new one. You got a new PC. You got to get a new wheel to match it.
Yeah, that's going to take some time. but it's the wheel's a trooper, that's for damn sure.
Well, Phil won here again, so second verse same as the first, or third verse same as the first. But anyways, good to hear a top 10 for you, Christian. First time in the booth here with us. I think we're going to have you back. I don't know. I think he passed well enough that we can have him back. Your thoughts of today's race, and are you glad you joined us, or did you kind of miss it at some points?
I'm quite happy I joined you guys. I think it was a good time, and the race panned out as we expected. Phil was very, very quick, and then we had a Class B. That was actually a very exciting race. That was very enjoyable to watch, especially the battle with Alex Van de Sande, Kevin Burrell, Rashad Crick, all being in contention for that second spot. But first place was never in doubt.
Ryan, final thoughts here on Laguna Seca?
Yeah, that was an exciting race. There was plenty of good battles going on through the field, and yeah, what can you say about Phil Krauss? He's just one of those. Yeah, just whatever he does, starting at the back, he just seems to pull something out of the hat, and I think he just demonstrated why he's one of the top guns when it comes to IndyCar, and yeah, again just pulling out another one, and I think Mid-Ohio should be a good one, especially with that tricky twisty section after the China beats corners.
Speaking of Mid-Ohio, looking forward to Mid-Ohio. Antonio, what do we got to look forward to with Mid-Ohio? It's another one of those short road courses, and we're looking at a lot of laps. It's going to be another long day at Mid-Ohio.
Sure, sure, it's going to be. But yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see a great race as well. I mean, we saw a great race here, and typically Laguna, although I love driving around here, it's not the best place for racing. But today we saw a great race. We saw a lot of passing. I mean, most of it courtesy of Phil Krauss starting from the back, but then we also saw a lot of midfield battles and a lot of battles up front as well. So I imagine that we're gonna see something similar in Mid-Ohio, because it's also, and we were talking about it during the race, it's a tough place to pass down. There are only maybe 3 passing zones, 2 of them like turn 2 and backstretch turn 11, I think it is. But yeah, it's a very, very, very beautiful track. It really flows well, and we're going to see some tough times for some of the drivers, because if they're around the similar pace, they're not going to be able to make an overtake happen unless they do some very aggressive moves. So yeah, looking forward to it, and I think we're going to have a lot of folks driving this car. We mentioned it earlier. A lot of people coming from other series that are getting interested in IndyCar, and we're seeing more and more of these guys that we haven't seen before joining us and putting on a great show. And again, heartbreak for Henkel. He did great, and I foresee that we're going to see some of the other drivers joining and having a lot of fun. So yeah, looking forward to this.
All right, before I get us on out of here, just a reminder. 2 weeks, July 6th, it'll still be the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, over on ERN. We will be broadcasting the remainder of the IIS over on ERN from Mid-Ohio to Nashville Superspeedway. So you can find everything to get to ERN's YouTube channel. It is in the description. But the best thing to do is just type in the search bar Elite Racing Network or Elite Racing League, and you should find both of them. It's going to have a nice big day glow green logo with a checkered flag, says ERN, and subscribe to their channel. And then on that channel screen, you will see that there's a couple of races that have been scheduled, one of which will be the IIS race, and you can click the notify button. That will notify you when we get ready to go broadcasting that one. Best thing to do is just ring the bell when you subscribe to their channel, and you'll be notified of every single ERL and ERN race that's going on there, including when their IndyCar series starts up this August 1st I will be in the booth and helping call the action for that. So more of me if you like listening to me. If you don't, just turn me down and watch the action on the track. That's all we ask for. Less me, more action. I don't think anyone's really arguing about that one. Anyways, that is what I want everyone to do there is just go to ERN and subscribe and then know our next race there at Mid-Ohio. I think that's really going to do it. That's it for us here on Raceverse. I want to thank Raceverse for everything, and wish Raceverse the best in their future endeavors and everything. That without Raceverse, I would not have ever really gotten a clear path to doing broadcasting and commentating and that type of thing. So they've been a big help to this little hobby of ours, and I thank them. We'll be moving on to doing other things. More information on that very, very soon. But for the remainder of the IIS and for even the IndyCar Open Series on Tuesday, that will all be over on ERN. So let's get on out of here. Give everyone back their Saturdays. People can go get lunch and stuff. I haven't eaten yet. So that's it today. Once again, your podium from Laguna Seca. Dr. Phil with the win. Alex Vanasant, and I don't think he's rejoined, so we won't get a chance to talk to Alex for old time's sake, but he finishes second. Kevin Burrell, of course, the best interview in the business there, finishes third. That is your podium here from Laguna Seca. Join Antonio Ryan and myself again in 2 weeks for round 10 of the IndyCar iRacing Series as the drivers and teams head to Mid-Ohio. Remember, coverage of this race and for every other broadcasted IIS race we do for the remainder of this season will be on ERN. The links for their channel and Discord server are in the description. Coverage should have begun approximately 2 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. Again, remember, it's 2:00 p.m. Eastern. As always, check the channel at youtube.com/@Elite Racing League, or just Google search or search up ERN or Elite Racing League Network or Elite Racing Network in the search bar. It'll get you to the right place, and check the official iRacing schedule for the correct time in your area. Both of them will have it. We love bringing these races to you. Not easy and require time and money to produce. If you share our passion for the sport of IndyCar and enjoyed our coverage of the IndyCar iRacing Series, please take time to visit our GoFundMe page. The link is in the description, and donate to our 2024 broadcast fund. We realize times are tough, so any contribution will be greatly appreciated. We thank you for watching and making us part of your Saturdays during NTT IndyCar race weeks. Every time the NTT Indy races, we appreciate you watching for that matter. Let's see. Coverage today brought to you by 4D Racewear. Check out their made for sim racing line of gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them at 4dracewear.com, and they will continue being the sponsor of the IS when we move it over to the ERN. So check them out. Link is in the description. Track cams for this race are provided by Whiplash Sim Cams. Get the most out of your iRacing experience with Whiplash Sim Cams. To learn more about Whiplash, like them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter. The links are in the description. So, for El Patron, Antonio Estrada, Ryan Walker, Christian Hilgard, our super driver expert today. I'm Gary Gatto saying to all, thanks for watching, and thanks for joining us here on Raceverse for all this time. And to all the minimum serving the military and its first responders, Godspeed, God bless, come home safe. Make sure to catch the real stars and cars of the NTT IndyCar Series this Sunday for the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Follow the action on the Peacock app or on the USA Network, or join my friend Mark Janes and the gang on IndyCar Radio on Sirius XM Channel 215. Be sure to check your local listings for the correct broadcast times in your area and station in your area. Catch us again 2 weeks at Mid-Ohio on the ERN for the next race of the IIS. Good night, guys.